Holmes. There's your
All right, let's do this. Good evening, everybody out there in YouTube land. Yeah, we're only on YouTube on this, and that's why I went to Facebook today. It messed me up right there. So, guys, this is a live well welcome this Tuesday night in steamy, hot Georgia. Good Lord, it's hot. So, hey, we got a great episode for you guys tonight. We need your participation in this, and we're going to talk about our favorite soft plastics, okay? And it can be the whole entire gamut, whether it is worms that you're going to see some extremely unusual worms here tonight. It can be swim baits. It can be whatever. But we want to know what your favorite ones are for certain techniques. And we're going to go over everything. But it's going to be a good show, a lot of good information. And we really want to hear your opinions on a lot of this stuff. So you guys out there in the comment section, make sure you participate tonight. It makes my job a lot easier. And also, too, for those of you that missed it, today we did our first FNGO lunch break. So every day that I'm here, 12 to 12:30, 12 to 1, we're going to give you guys kind of a little, what did we say? It's almost like a live well light kind of thing. I'm just going to join you guys, and we want you guys to participate, kind of give you a little fish and talk in the middle of the day. Did it today. Hey, I enjoyed it. It was fun. I had a lot of guys show up, a lot of guys from out of town. That was pretty cool like that, like we've got in the comment section right there. So that's going to be something every day. And then for those of you that listen on iTunes or Spotify, I'm going to put those on there as well. So let's go ahead and let's take care of our sponsors, our fine sponsors. We'll start off with Sonar Pros. Guys, the official sonar installer of the live well, 770-530-4505. Take your boat where the pros do, or where Clint takes his boat.
Can I give a shout out to old Trent real quick?
You can.
I would like to say that Trent is the man, because last Thursday I was hauling ass after work, bringing my boat to Sonar Pros, trying to get over there as fast as I could in traffic, driving an hour over there. And I get there and I bought a unit, a Garmin 126 SV off my buddy, and he sent me the unit and everything. And it finally came in, took 2 weeks to get here. And I finally got it, and I was like, all right, Trent, I got this, and I just need you to put this on the front. And then one of my rod straps broke, and we had to change out the cartridge on it. It was like, he was like, okay, if you bring it by, we can knock it out real quick. It'll be quick and easy, right? So pull in, and I'm like, all right, here's the box. And he's like, there's no power cable in here. And I'm like, oh, no. And then he's like, there's no gimbal either. And I was like, no. And I was like, oh, no. Like, we're going to have to sit here. Like, I had to shoot literally the next day. And I was like, oh, God, like he's going to have to order parts and all this stuff. He's like, hang on, let's dig around the shop and see what we can find. He ultimately dug around the shop, figured it out, found the stuff we needed, and got me in and out in literally like an hour of just hooking it up, because he's a good dude. And that was pretty cool for him to take the time to hook it up. And he still got it done right, and it still worked awesome for me this past weekend. So shout out to Trent.
Shout out.
He'll take care of you.
Mr. Sonar Pro right there. Trent's good people. He's good people. So, again, guys, listen, you can take your boat elsewhere. but eventually going to take it to Trent and get it fixed.
Mhm.
So right there. So just do it right the first time. And then we got our buddy Kevin Underwood with Lipsticker Fishing, 678-459-8419. Kevin at lipstickerfishing.com. Magnum spotted bass on Lake Lanier. Guys, this Friday on his Patreon, patreon.com/lipstickerfishing. Yours truly, me, myself, and I will be fishing on the Patreon live with Mr. Underwood. So if nothing else, you're going to get some entertainment like that. So, but we appreciate Kevin. And we got Evolve Fishing, the best rod sleeves on the market. They float. They got all the little safety features. Best of all, them hooks do not stay tangled up, hooked, however you want to say it. You can throw 20 of them rods with an Evolve rod sleeve in your rod locker. Hey, they're going to pull right out. And if something does get hung in it, it just pulls right out.
They got those new reel covers too, man. Those
The
things
reel
nice.
covers, are they sweet?
Yeah.
Okay,
really
there you
nice.
go. So they're Alex approved right there, the real covers. And then we got the Money Saver Lure Retriever. Guys, listen, for all the expensive baits we got, and we're going to talk about some of them tonight. If you get it hung, you want the best plug knocker on the market, and that is the Money Saver Lure Retriever. We got them here at FNGO. You can come by the shop or go online and check them out. We appreciate those guys. And if you're on Lake Allatoona and you want to fish with a legend, that's Mr. Bill Payne. Bill Payne's Guide Service, 706-280-2305. Do I sound like one of them lawyers on TV? At the end of a commercial,
You're pretty talk fast.
well, we did a 5-hour energy right before the show, so we're ready,
boy.
good to go. Guys, listen, Lake Allatoona, spotted bass. He's the man right there, but he also does seasonal smallmouth trips and electronic trips. So get everything done right, and he's one of the sweetest human beings you will ever meet. I love Mr. Bill Payne. And check out on FNGO after the show, the night video, the nighttime bass fishing during the summer video we did with him last year, getting a lot of plays. Everybody's going back and watching that. That's some good juice for you guys that want to start fishing at night. So you can check that video out as well. And then we got the kid, the young gun, the stud, Brooks Anderson with Brooks Anderson Fishing. Check out his YouTube, Brooks Anderson Fishing. Book a trip with him. Lake Lanier spotted bass. Why they're there, where they're there, why they're there, where they're there, where they're there, how we want to say that. They're everywhere. But why? John, you want to do these?
No.
You're looking at me like that. But seriously, he wants to teach you everything about a spotted bass and how to catch them on Lake Lanier. And the best thing about Brooks is he's really good with younger anglers. So if you got a younger angler in your family, Brooks is the guy for you. And then we got our buddies, Tony Watkins in the group up at Fishers of Hope. Yeah, they will do the Fishers of Hope right there. Their mission is to glorify God, be servants of his word, and to bring those in need to peace and hope that only he can bring. They throw bass tournaments for those in need. Get involved with them. Follow them on Facebook or email them at fishersofhope.ministry@gmail.com. It's a good service. You want to be connected with people like that. And then we got our buddy Rob Robleski up in Tennessee. Big League Charters out of Knoxville, Tennessee. 239-877-6479. Tellico, Fort Loudon, Watts Bar, Chickamauga. Rob fishes the NPFL. I fished with him. Super good dude. You're going to have a great time on the water with him. And then, of course, right behind us, if you're in Jasper, Georgia, and you need tires or alignment, our buddies at Turner Tires, 706-253-3339. Brock and the crew over there will get you in and out. They're great people, small, local, family-run business, and that's what we want to support. And so if you're in the Jasper, Georgia area, or if you're not, hell, bring your car up there anyway. And, guys, if you have a business, big or small, I don't care if you're Coca-Cola or I don't care if you just started your own mom and pop shop and you want to get in front of some of the most loyal eyeballs in the fishing and outdoor game, you can advertise right here. Email me, Danny at fngo.com. I got a fellow that's watching over, owns a HVAC company in Alabama, reached out to me. We're going to see if we can work out something with him and get him some business over in Gunnersville. But whatever we can do to promote your business, we would love to help you guys out. So to my right, Mr. Muscles.
Shit.
Right there. We got Clint.
How's it
Clint
going,
Bartlett
fellas?
right there. You want to go ahead? Let's go ahead and get that out of the way and you shout out, do your little shout out because he did something very important.
Yes. So I've been working for Yamaha Outboards, running the social media, being cameraman Cletus, running all over the country, filming stuff for Yamaha, trying to step up the content game. It's been an absolute blast and a dream job. So I encourage you guys, like, if you find what you love to do in life, whether it's fishing, whether it's whatever it is, basket weaving, I don't care. You'll find a way to make money doing it if you work hard enough. And I feel like I've found that. I've found a dream job at Yamaha. It's been fantastic. And it's introduced me to so many awesome people in this industry. But so with that, I got to, back in October, I flew out to film with Brandon Polnick. And Brandon Polnick has been an inspiration to me since I was in college. When I was 18 and looking at videos on finally learning what tournament bass fishing was, Brandon Polnick was a huge inspiration because he was making the content, doing the grind, and he was out there winning tournaments and just being a fantastic ambassador on and off the water. So I got to fly out to Idaho to his home state, his hometown, and film a series that I'm starting with Yamaha called the Obsession Series. So what the Obsession Series is basically I sit an angler down and get their life story and then talk about why they're obsessed with bass fishing. Like, what is it that keeps you in this sport, that keeps you grinding, that keeps you chasing that next bite? And so I thought Brandon was a great place to start with this. He's ran a Yamaha for his entire career for over 15 years now. And so I got to put this film together, and we just released it last week on Wednesday. It's got almost 1,000 views, which is awesome for our young channel on YouTube. And we're constantly seeing more and more views pour in. So if you guys get a chance, go check out Yamaha Outboards on YouTube, on Instagram. A lot of that content is me putting out content, trying to grow the brand. And check out that video. It means a lot. It's kind of full circle, like going from my inspiration that I was watching in my college dorm to actually being able to film and release a film on him. It was a really cool piece for me. It means a lot. He's an awesome dude. And now I can call him a friend after working with him for the past 4 or 5 years on the road, freelancing and doing all kinds of fun stuff. So I was really excited about it, and I thought it came out pretty awesome. So go check it out. It's a little 13-minute film on his story. And it's pretty cool. It's pretty motivating to really show that you can be some random kid in Idaho and compete on the biggest stage in bass fishing. It's pretty awesome. So go check out that story and give us a subscribe, comment on the video if you watch it. Like, I've been looking at the comments, and it's been nothing but positivity in the comments. All the people in my life that have supported me have commented on it. It's been pretty awesome to see that. So thank you guys for supporting me and my journey along with the FNGO crew. It's been awesome. So thank you guys so much.
We love you.
We love you too.
We love you. And I said that. So somebody asked about the beard behind you, and that is Philip Hutchinson. Like, put it back on Clint. You see that beard just right. He's there.
Okay.
Listen, he moved in the area. We can't get rid of him like that. So, but anyway, I love Phil. I'm glad he's here. Now, to my left, we got John Aldred. And for those of you that don't know, he is a big swim bait guy, but he does have some plastics. And good God, the plastics, we're going to show them to you. That's all I can say like that. And of course, back there, we got old Alex back there running the board. So some of you guys already had some questions and comments up there. And some of you guys, there were some names up there that I didn't recognize. So sorry if we missed them. Like that, Paul, your buddy Paul's in the thing. And of course, we got Kevin Thornton. Father Time is here. Can't wait till he gets back. Casey Weaver came by and saw me today. Nice meeting you, buddy. Any way to get a live audio with no video? I don't think so, Aaron. I don't know, because normally I put them on iTunes and Spotify after that. But if you guys put a comment, up there and we missed it, go ahead and do it again, because now we're just going to get the show started. Steve Billington Fishing, see you right there, Cam with Max. So that we're just going to jump right in it. So everybody's got their favorite company, brand, type of soft plastics out there. Some of you guys have been throwing them out there already, but we're going to kind of break it down what our favorites are. And I'm going to let the guys here talk about their favorites, but in the comment section, I want you guys to throw it out there as we talk about a particular thing. So like, a lot of you guys think I'm going to start off with the wacky worm. I'm not going to. We're going to wait and save that. We're going to go different a little bit. Let's start off with swim baits. Because I know John has got some over here. So in the comment section, you guys can join. What's your favorite soft plastic swim bait brand? And also, if you could, don't just put the name, put why. Every one of these guys is grabbing something. And so we're going to go through all of them right there. What's up, Stephen? Appreciate you joining us at lunch today. Let's see. Aaron Parker, to get live audio with no video on iPhone, press lock button. If lock screen pauses, press play on it and lock the phone again. Okay, there you go. So that's for you guys that are doing that. So basically what he's saying is he wants to hear my voice. He just don't want to look at me.
And if you get YouTube Premium, you can listen with your phone locked all the time. It's the best because I watch YouTube. I don't watch Netflix or anything else. Like, YouTube Premium is well worth the $14 a month.
It is. But why wouldn't you want to look at me?
Well, I was watching you on the big screen today at lunch. So we had you pulled up in the Yamaha office.
We did in the Yamaha office. There you go. We're getting places.
Oh, yeah.
Had a fella from Maine watching today at lunchtime. I thought that was pretty damn cool.
That's awesome.
I know the locals watch us, And I know a lot of them watch the next day and all that, but it's really cool in the comment section when you get people from out of town. Just lets us know our reach is getting out there and all that. So you guys right there, Ron Swinford, he's the first one to talk about it. I like the Kitech. You can use them for all kinds of stuff. They are soft and have a great action. 100%. I love Kitechs. The only problem with Kitechs,
Durability.
good
Yeah.
God, one
Yep.
fish and done.
Yep.
Or if you pull them through something thick and you don't have a screw lock or something, like you got to have a screw lock. I just don't feel like taking out some damn super glue and having to super glue them every time and stuff. But I get it. Steve Billington's watching from Missouri.
That's awesome.
Heck yeah, buddy. Appreciate you
yeah.
joining us. I love it.
He's
I
a
love it.
yacker too. That's
Yeah,
sweet. That's
he's
a cool
he's a
logo,
friend of
by the
mine.
way.
He's a friend of yours.
Yeah.
He's a kayaker.
Nice.
That explains it. That explains it right
Float
there.
boat. I like it.
Let's see. I'm going to go read these out before the guys. So we got Rage Swimmer on a jig, Zoom Fitness Spot Hop, X Zone Swammer, 6 cents due to the small minnow fluke sizes and colors, and also Kitech. Pull up. How would you say that? SWP. Swiping.
I don't know.
Also Kitech, but a pond full
Or
of bluegills
Southwest
ruin those
Pinger.
tails.
Maybe he's a scoper.
Southwest Scoper or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, bluegills would absolutely ruin them. Zoom, Casey says local and a million options. A swammer is a good one. Now, Grant, I know you put the jelly worm. We're talking about swim baits right this second. We're going to hit all the swim baits. So Kyle Brown, pull him up. See, I love it now. They're throwing this shit out right here. Recently ventured over to the Mayor from Crush City. Pretty durable and versatile. Z-Man for action and durability, Steven Sturgeon says. What about the baby whale from 6 cents?
Yep.
Is that a good one? Okay. Jaw Tech, man fishing. I like it, dog. What did he say again? Pull that up. Pull up man there. Jaw Tech punch shad. Punch. I thought he said punch salad, and I was getting ready to come up with an off-color joke right there about punching the salad. So anyway, all right. So John, because John is nervous. He
No,
won't.
I'm good this time.
Are you good this
I'm good
time?
this time.
So John, I'm just going to tell you right now, he's a Buka fan. With good reason. With good reason. Mike Buka makes some of the best baits out there, especially if you guys are wanting big bass.
John knows how to use them too.
And John knows how to use them. So John's got, hot damn, you brought your whole tackle box.
I didn't.
Give me.
Well, it's funny that I'm here because you mentioned fishing soft plastics. I said I was just going to bring a black trick worm and then complain for 2 hours about how I hate fishing soft plastics.
That's right.
But then ask about the big swim baits, and you said that's cool.
Yeah.
So my favorite's burrito baits.
Push that camera a little more. Let's center his beautiful face up. There you go. There we go. There we go. Now look at the stuff. Listen, look at what he's got. It's like look at there on the
Look
table.
how magnified my glasses.
It's okay.
What are we going to call me? Bubbles.
Bubbles.
There you go.
John is Bubbles right here. So anyway, show us a couple of your swim baits and tell us why you like them.
My favorite are the burritos. They are poured. Well, some of them are poured at the Bullshed shop over here in Ackworth. So it's cool that they're local. You can go by and you can get different colors that you can't necessarily find online. The initial price of a burrito is more expensive than a lot of these other swim baits, but it's because they're made out of silicone as opposed to plastisol. So they last a lot longer.
Pull one of them puppies up. Look at that. Right.
This one's been, I don't know how many fish I've caught on it. And other than gluing on a new eye, I mean, you can't even tell that it's
That's one thing. When you come in, you're in here all the time.
Yeah.
And you talk about the durability of that because that's the silicone.
This is silicone, yeah.
Which we count as plastic.
Yeah. So
I guess
it costs more, but it's more durable than a plastisol bait.
Yeah.
Let
me see that.
I do.
Look at that thing. Pull that camera on me. Look at that thing.
And they make several sizes everywhere from the baby burrito on up to what they call the chimichanga, which is an 8-inch. Now they're doing a drop on bullshed.com tomorrow at 8 of custom colors of I know the baby, and they're hinting on these. So if you're not local, you can get them on a drop.
Look at this thing. It's like the John Holmes of swim baits. Look at that. That looks like a big ass gizzard.
Yeah.
Does it not? But okay, so let me ask you this.
I think that's the point, Danny.
Yeah.
Thanks, Clint. You're right. You're right. But okay, so Barksdale said he likes kitties.
Hey, buddy.
Barksdale's here tonight.
Hey,
so
he's
one
not
and
banned
nothing
from this
match.
channel.
Good grief. All right. So anyway, so let me ask you this though. There's a lot of companies make these. You like Buka. What is it about the Buka brand and this particular bait that makes you go back over and over and over again to buy their products?
One, because they're local. And if I
Mhm.
do have questions about what I'm doing wrong, or if it's not swimming how I think it should, you go by the shop and they'll stop what they're doing, throw your bait in the tank and show you how to fish it, put the rod in your hand and teach you how to fish it. You cannot beat the local customer service. I like dealing with some of the smaller companies like that, as opposed to some of these big guys like Berkeley, which I've got the Coal Shad, I've got the Spro, Megalojohn, which are both good baits. I think the customer service outweighs it.
That's a good point.
Also, the burrito, at least as far as the way I fish it, it's designed to fish a little faster. It's not like the Huddleston where you're just crawling it and the tail's kicking. Fish these very similar to how you would a chatterbait.
You mentioned that earlier.
Yeah, you're buzzing it right above grass. If you're on a chatterbait bite, you don't have to go crazy on that. But if you just grab the 6-inch burrito, fish it just like you're doing the chatterbait, it's going to draw some of the bigger bites from whatever school or whatever area you're fishing.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. So Bubbles likes kitties. We should have told Barksdale we call you Bubbles there. It's going to be something from there on
Yeah,
out.
I'm going to hear about it.
Let's see there. A little sneaky deal for the Kitech. James Archer says, use a line through swim bait head with a treble hook. I catch several spots before having to switch to swap the plastics. It also works on flukes.
And I really think the Kitech cannot be beat in cold weather, in cold water. It's a softer plastic, which is why it's not as durable, but it maintains its action even when the water's cold.
For sure. And even no matter what size it is, it does maintain action. Like you, even from big 6.8s to down to the 2.8.
Now,
like it does.
In the summer, where the water's warm and all the plastisol is going to have action, I do go to the cheaper, whether it's the Rage Tail or even just the Bass Pro brand. They're more durable, but they do not swim as well when the weather's cold.
Yeah, that makes sense. I like that. All right, Clint, I know where you're going. It's like, seriously, like I knew when we brought this up.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not, but I know why you're going there too.
Yeah.
It's a good bait.
So I've got the 4-inch Cast Prodigy. And so this was actually the first soft plastic bait we started designing with Cast. And so they were making these to catch barramundi in Australia, and they were making in the 4-inch and the 6-inch. And then so we kind of shrunk it down. The first release was the 3-inch and the 4-inch Prodigy in America. And so the cool thing about this is you have this oversized tail, right? So you got a lot of action from it, even in the wintertime. And then the coolest part about the 4-inch in particular is the way you rig it. So this 4-inch, I'm not rigging it on an EWG style hook. I'm rigging it with a nose hook. So a 2-aught BKK, I'll nose hook it right here. I should have brought a hook, but I was grabbing a bag of tackle at 4 o'clock this morning. We're trying to rush out of the door. So I didn't quite get to grab a hook, but just a standard 2-aught BKK nose hook it. And then so they come with a glass rattle in there. So you can what you can do is you can either leave that rattle in, or what I'll do is I'll pop it out and I'll put a 3/32 ounce nail weight in there. So what that does is you basically have a soft plastic spy bait. So when you're reeling it through the water, you have that tail will give it that head wobble that you're after with a swim bait. Whether it's in the wintertime, summertime, doesn't matter. You're still going to get that roll and that wobble. But especially in the summertime, what I love about it is you can go skip docks with it. You can slide it beside docks. You can skip up under there, get under those dock cables and put it in a place where a standard jig-headed swim bait, you're not going to put them in those places. So the cool part is when you hook up to a fish, the bait will actually slide up the line, and the plastic that we use is a proprietary. It's a tough word.
It is. It's late, dude.
So the proprietary plastic with the Prodigy,
with the big words.
Yeah. So you get all the durability in the body, but you still get plenty of action in the tail. And so that bait will slide up the line and keep your bait away from the fish, not giving them that leverage. It doesn't matter as much with a light bait like this, but when you're thinking about a big burrito or something like that, leverage is everything, and those fish can use that weight against you. So it is cool that bait slides up the line, doesn't get more damage. It'll just kind of slide up the line. You land that fish, you slide it right back down the line. You almost never have to readjust it. And as long as you have that thing lined up nice and center, you can catch 20, 30 fish off of one single swim bait. And so this pack of swim baits will last you forever.
That I agree. Now, James Archer says, have you tried putting a screw lock in the nose? If so, it would help you not go through as many plastics. But I think a screw lock on that kind of takes away a little bit of the action.
It takes away a little bit of the head wobble, and you honestly don't need it with that plastic. So you can rig it straight through the middle. It's actually how the plastic's poured, you have a perfect line down in between the eyeballs of this thing. So as long as you line it up perfectly, and I like to put that hook right in front of the eyeballs on there. So you're just kind of skin hooking that nose on that bait, and you can slide it around. For guys that are using forward-facing sonar, it's a great alternative to when you're brush pile fishing and trying to burn a bait kind of up higher in the water column and make them come up to it. I caught a couple on it on Saturday out on Lake Lanier. It's a cool bait and something different. Like you can't do that with a whole lot of swim baits.
That's right.
Or any others that I've tried it with other swim baits, and I haven't been able to rig it like that. So it is a cool, different rig when you're talking about a swim bait. So the only thing to take into consideration is, especially in the wintertime, you have this oversized tail. So with that oversized tail, it's going to give your bait a little bit of lift. So if you're not looking at it on forward-facing sonar and you're just casting it out there and swimming it back, remember that this bait will rise up. If you let it sink for 10 seconds and you reel it at a normal retrieve, it will work its way up in the column. So if you're trying to keep it down there, sometimes what I'll do in the wintertime is trim either side of this tail off. And then that just kind of gives it that straight tail action, and it'll just slightly wobble in the wintertime, which when you're trying to go, sometimes less is more with action. So I'm using a 2-aught BKK on that. I just saw a comment.
Yeah, you said Kyle. Yeah, Kyle had that question.
2-aught BKK Predator hook on the front of that, and it is a sweet deal. It's really cool.
I'll say this about cast. First of all, Duck Dynasty in the background cranking and yanking. Yeah, we got a few of those. That's Phil back there. He's a local trout guy, but he knows his stuff, so he can talk bass with us too as well. So yeah, he does have that pretty beard right there. I'll say this about cast. I haven't thrown the burrito yet. I'm going to, because we talked about it. I'm going to get into the swim bait game, and I know that's your thing.
Good man.
I have thrown the cast, and this has nothing to do with Ryan, and I like Ryan Hanks and all that. It is legit bait, and you are correct about the durability.
For sure.
Don't get me wrong, I love Kitex, but hot damn. I mean, it really is one fish and done.
The first 3-inch, when I got the prototypes of the 3-inch Prodigy, and I brought it out to Lake Lanier, it was ditch fishing in the wintertime, and just rolling it on a 1/4-ounce jig head when you're just crawling, counting rocks in the wintertime. I caught 28 spotted bass on the same exact 3-inch and could still keep rigging it. And that was all the fish I caught that day. But I sent a picture to Ryan. I was like, I just caught 28 fish on this single swim bait.
Yeah.
I was like, you can't do that with any other bait. I thought it was pretty cool.
Legit. It's legit. Far Dog from Southeast Oklahoma. What's up, buddy? Hopefully it stopped raining there. Probably just hotter than hell right now. Did you see that at lunch? And Alex, I'm getting ready to get to you. Did you see that guy from Maine at lunch? It was 101 degrees in Maine. In freaking Maine today.
With 75-degree water temp.
With 75, and the fish are going, and they're still in the spawn. Yeah. That was crazy. All right, so Thad Moody, I saw that. And guys, listen, we get talking. I know if we miss your comment, put it again. But I noticed Thad mentioned the company that I know is getting ready. Where's he at? There's our buddy, Western Maine Outdoors, like that.
That's awesome.
Man, I'm glad you're here. It makes my night to see you here. All right, so I
love fishing in Maine, by the way.
I've never been to Maine.
Went up there and we fished 8 lakes in 7 days, and it was insane, like catching 50 or 60 fish a day in the middle of July.
That's because the damn lakes are frozen and fish are hungry. You can't fish for like 2 months out of the year.
It's fun.
But seriously, no, listen, I'm glad you're here, man. That means a lot to me. Now, Alex, tell us about your favorite swim baits, because I know what's coming.
So I've got the Pogue, the Pissed Off Guppy from Tactical Fishing Company.
Yep.
It's still pretty new. It's also really durable. You can catch. I've caught 13 on one bait before I had to change it. And you can rig it a variety of different ways. You can use.
How do you normally rig it?
I like to rig it on an underspin or a helo head, like a screw head.
Right.
But I'll also throw it on a weighted swim bait hook too, and it rolls really, really well. It's got great action in the tail, and I'm working on trying to get him to make a smaller one too for the colder weather for us.
Yeah, you really like that though. You like tactical fishing.
Yeah, I do. I've become real good friends with Andrew.
Yeah,
and
it's a good looking bait.
Yeah, this is the electric shiner. He's got quite a few different colors. He's got a herring color as well. But this is the one that I like to throw the most.
Look at Steve Billington says the MRE from Tactical Fishing is the most durable and versatile plastic I've ever used. I'm gonna have one in my pocket at my damn wedding. That was his quote, not mine.
I got some of them over here for later too.
Do you got for later?
Yeah.
Well, we can listen. We can just start with you and work our way back, because I know he's got some other options, and Clint had one over here like was really, really small. So pull out another one. When it comes to swim baits, though, you know, you can use them as a trailer. You can use them on their own. You can use them on an A-rig. There's so many different options. Coleman Jones, real
MRE.
question is, where can I get some Sakamatas? Dude, that is like, seriously, like everybody calls me up and asks me if I can get those. And I'm like, no. I mean, no, I can't get them. Cranking and yanking, I really never fish swim baits unless I'm using it as a trailer, which is what I was talking about. A lot of guys use this swim bait as a trailer, but now he's in Louisiana. And so we know his lakes are a lot different than the ones we got here, because we're Highland Reservoir clear. The swim bait game plays in North Georgia probably as much as any other area in the nation, I would say, especially with our spotted bass.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody comes in the shop and they say, hey, what's the easiest way to catch a bass, and they're not familiar with a wacky worm, okay, because you know where I'm going to go. I'm going to say, hey, get you an underspin, put you a quality swim bait on the back of it, and just throw it. So now you got another swim bait over there from Tactical you want to talk about? Mr. Walking Talking Promo?
It's not necessarily a swim bait. This is the minnow ready to eat. And it kind of looks like a stunted claw, and it's got a little bit of a like paddle right there on the tail.
Yeah.
This is good on an underspin. I throw it on spot chokers. I throw it on shaky heads.
So you got a versatile type of swim bait.
It's a great chatterbait trailer. This is the only trailer I'll throw on a chatterbait.
And what's it called again?
The minnow ready to eat.
The minnow ready to eat.
Yeah.
MRE. They got some cool names. I'll give them that. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
I need to throw some more of their stuff.
Tactical?
Yeah.
Well, hell, just talk to Alex there. He's got you in with all that stuff. All right, John.
Yes, sir.
You talked about the burritos.
Right.
Now he's putting his burritos up. We're still on swim bait, guys.
Son, I can put a burrito away. I tell you what.
Steve Billington. I can, dude. I like this. You may tell you who's got good burritos? Bucky's.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You'll be on the next exit after
But
you
Bucky's
eat it,
has got some quality burritos.
That's because they're based out of Texas.
They are. They're quality. Bucky's ain't everything. I mean, everywhere. Bojangles Baits makes a version like the Sakamata shad, and Cliff Pace Baits has something close. So that's from Ken. So guys right there, check them out. Bojangle Baits and Cliff Pace Baits has something close. Because I know Zoom came out with their winged fluke, but it's not the Sakamata shad. It's not. But you don't know how many times each week I get a phone call. Can you get me some of those Sakamatos? And I'm like, no, I can't. They're so hard to get right now. All right, what you got next, John?
Difference. The Spro Megalojohn.
It's a good bait.
Very similar to the Mag Draft. Very similar to the smaller version of the what is that one? The Coal Shed.
Coal Shed.
I like this one a little better. It seems like it's a little more versatile as far as what speed I can reel it in. Some of the other ones, Mag Draft, you got to have the right speed
Or you'll blow it
to
out.
get the action.
Yeah.
It's either not going to swim or it's going to blow out. The Coal Shed to me is very similar to that. The Spro, I can go a little slower. I can go a little faster. It does have a very wide kick, and I don't use it as much in cold water because of the wide action.
Right.
But I like that one. And then
What is that monstrosity right there?
this is just a Kitech type bait, but on an owner flashy swimmer. So you got the underspin, but it's also weedless. I
No,
guess
that black and tan there, dog.
most everybody knows I like fishing heavy cover.
He
throwing
does.
it in grass.
For those of you that don't know, this man right here is a big bass hunter. Okay, so where he fishes, he will go out and fish all day for one bite. He's
So-
not, even though he is fishing a tournament right now, a kayak tournament, that's different. But most of the time, you are I want the biggest fish in the lake that's going to
Yeah.
bite that day.
I do one
Thank you,
tournament,
sir.
a year to remind me that I don't like doing tournaments.
He doesn't like doing tournaments.
But it does make me throw conventional tackle, so
Mhm.
that I guess it helps me in the long run. It's just not as fun for me. But anyway, the owner flashy swimmer, it's weedless. You got the underspin. It's a very inexpensive way to get in throwing larger swim baits.
Let me ask you
Because
that.
that's a 6-inch.
Okay, see, that's a 6-inch. 6-inch Kitech style bait. When you're going out, you're not throwing these for spots. This is a large. You're trying to get largemouth.
I'm trying to get largemouth spots.
You don't like spotted
Unfortunately,
bass,
hit them too.
but you don't like spots.
No, but I mean, even on some of the really large hard swim baits, I mean, the thing we were doing last month with Alex through Festive Water, I caught an 18.5-inch spot on a 7-inch swim bait.
Ain't it crazy
So-
what a spot of hit?
They're just angry.
Pissed off bass. That's what they are. Now, Clint, let me read a couple. So Cranking the Yankin says, I know Bruiser Baits makes a good one. I think it's called a Slimmer Swimmer. Y'all familiar with that one?
Mm-mm.
Anybody familiar with that? All right, and Trey Crenshaw, that Texas, what is it? Pop that back up. That Texas cheesesteak burrito from Buc-ee's is a jam, but don't climb in a deer stand after eating it. Don't ask me how I know. I know how you know.
Yep.
I know exactly how you know. I've cut off many of the top of my socks because I've been up in a deer stand, and nature hits. Nature hits like that. All right, Clint. So what's your next option right there? Bottom Line Outdoors, 5-inch mag draft or 5-inch Zal Dangerous. I've got some of them Zal Dangerous over there, and they're kind of like a line 3.
I haven't tried.
They're a pain in the ass to put the line in.
They are. So I figured out a
That's
hack.
the whole thing.
I figured out a hack to getting them through. But the thing is you got to get the line through it at some point, right? So once you do eventually get that line through it to get to that hook and you tie it, you pull that hook out and get like 6 or 8 inches of line off of that hook and cut the tag in. You can tie that tag in. You can put it in the reverse way and tie it to it, and that helps a ton.
Brandon Coleman is checking in from Iowa.
That's awesome.
Hell yeah. I love that. Now listen, open that up for me while we're talking right there. So, John, Phil's got a question. It's funny that you're like 5 foot from me and you're typing in. John, which swim bait was it that doesn't blow out in cold water? Might try it for some big browns. And for those of you that don't know, Phil is a big trout hunter. So that's what he is. So what swim bait was it? You want to show that joker?
Yeah.
Go ahead answer that
I'm not
question.
sure which one you're talking. The one that had rigged as an underspin?
Yeah.
Oh, that's just that one's just the Bass Pro brand version of a Kitech. But if you're fishing cold water, I would go with a 6-inch Kitech. And then that's the Owner Flashy Swimmer 6/0. Of course, the 3/0 will fit the 3.8. 1/0 fits the little 2.8, but the 6 with the 6/0 is the way to go.
I love that. In fact, we got a guy from Iowa watching us. Now, first of all, here's the Zal Dangerous. All right, this is what's the name of it called?
It's the Dangerous Swim Bait.
Dangerous Swim Bait. All right, now first of all, you guys, I know we ain't zooming in, but you can kind of see the colors of this. This looks like a rainbow trout. If nothing else in the world looks like a rainbow trout. But what do they name it, Clint? Read that off the back of it.
I think it's Gizzard, right?
It is Texas Gizzard.
Yep.
Texas Gizzard. So I don't know what the hell the gizzards have.
So they have improved their colors a lot. That was something I was disappointed with in the beginning was their color range. But you also have to think we overcomplicate it with colors a lot. Like that could look like a herring, it could look like a trout, it could look like I've caught spots on Lanier around bridge pylons and stuff like that. Like it does look like
Profile in action is going to be.
It is the profile in action, but does it not look like a damn rainbow trout?
It does.
But here, okay, so put the camera on me. So we were talking about the Zal Dangerous thing. So first of all, you can't see it, but there's a hole right here in the nose. All right, and it has a little tube in it. Now this hook right here connects to it. It's held in there by a magnet.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see someone on set rig that Zal Dangerous. We might have to try it here in a second. Just go get some off the shelf. Hell, nobody's coming in here shopping. We'll just use it.
There's got to be a
get some of that cheap mono stuff. But anyway, so what you've got to do is you've got to feed the line through there somehow, and it's a pain in the ass. I'm not going to lie. I wish they came up with a better way. But I will say this. The action on this Zal Dangerous swim bait is legit. They make a floating, a slow sink, and it's all about the weight, and they make one what they call a deep, but it's just got a little more weight.
Hey, Spees.
Oh, Justin's Spees, what's up there? Derek, any feedback? I can't do it. See, Aaron says I can't do it without using 70-pound fluoro, which is stiff, and that's what he's talking about, getting it in there. Now, look, Georgia Country Boy TV, it's easy. Stick the line through and tie the hook on, no problem. but listen, Country Boy.
Like a little straw or a coffee stir.
But it's kind of hard. But so anyway, Clint's doing it.
Yeah, put the camera on and watch.
Put the camera on. Let's just see this. So
we've got some 20-pound right here, so it does make it a little easier. But I'm basically, the biggest thing is you got to feed it like in small increments.
Yes.
Through there, so I can kind of see the line going through there. But the problem is it'll get stuck, right? So ideally, the hardest part is getting it in there the first time. That's what she said. And you just
That's not my problem, dude. That might be your problem there, big dog. I'm lucky to feel the side of things. But anyway.
So hang on. We're still going. We're still
I'm
trying
not-
to.
WB Harrington said,
I'm out of patience already.
yeah, so seriously, they say to double the lineup to run it through. And so and David Weaver says you could use a 4-inch gorge needle like they use. But here's the problem. I think when you design one of these things, you should not have to buy accessories to put line on a bait. Now, still, Aaron Parker says 70-pound fluoro is exaggeration, of course, but still, I can't do it. You got it through there?
So we're through.
But you had to use like 20-pound.
Yeah. So
you got to do it easy.
Well, you want to throw it on 20-pound. You don't really want to throw it on lighter than that. So I'm going to tie this hook on, and I'll show you kind of what I was talking about.
Cranking and yanking. Yes, you're not going to slide braid through this one. If you can do it, you would have to use a needle. You would have to use something else. There's no way in the world that you could slide braid through that.
So once you have it rigged up and it's tied on there and you've got it tied on, I will cut it like down here. So
give me
here.
I'll show you how to do this.
You a teeth cutter?
Hell yeah. My dad spent $10,000 on braces.
Yeah.
He would get mad every time I'd bite fishing line. I'd put a dip in.
So now that you've got it kind of elongated, what I'll do is I'll pull it out and I'll tie a knot. Just tie you an overhand knot in it. And then double over on that overhand knot.
Jim Wright said he can do it with braid.
And then you can pull. So now that you've got that knot on there, you pull it through.
Will Elm said I would just use a mag draft or a coal shad.
Yeah. You pull her through, and then to get your.
Oh, Will's a good fisherman, man.
Forgetting.
Will is?
Yeah.
He's a good fit. You know him?
Yeah.
Well, if he knows you, he's got to be good people too. John G says just tie a leader onto the braid and pull it through. You could, John, but the point is if you just got braid and you're trying to slide that through that hole.
Oh, I remember. Okay. I was doing this backwards because I was overthinking it. So what you want to do.
How do I mess up on live?
Yeah, I will. So you want to leave that hook in there and then leave this tag in. So when you go to tie it back on.
I don't know. What in the hell are you doing?
Now I'm trying to think. I can't remember how I did. I found a hack on doing this. And I can't remember now. So I'm excited.
So anyway, way to go there. But I will say this, like it's a good bait. It's got good action.
And you can catch them over the timber. It's a great bait to sink over the timber, like in the summertime. And now I can't remember how.
Brandon Coleman. Well, now that but we know we understand you do. You'll figure it out.
Yeah.
You're gonna remember it the second the show's over with. You're gonna go, damn it.
That's
So Brandon Coleman, pull up his comment right there.
Potter, finish the trick. I'm sorry.
Love listening to the podcast at work. How dirty of water will you throw a swim bait for in largemouth? Now I'm going to give this answer to John.
Yeah.
Because John fishes Lake Ackworth, and guys, if you know anything about Lake Ackworth,
it is nasty.
Like there is a sewage spill in Lake Ackworth at least once or twice a year.
Yes.
I mean, it is
they actually closed the lake last year for a week or two.
Disgusting water. But answer his question in all seriousness. Dirty water. You're the dirty water guy.
The dirtier, the better, I think. I can throw a heavier line. The size of the bait is displacing so much water that they know it's there whether they can see it or not. Typically in dirty water, the largemouth are going to be really touching cover, really tight to cover.
Right.
The larger bait gives you a better opportunity to pull them away from that cover. So like we were talking about earlier, instead of having to bonk them on the head with a wacky rig to get them to bite, I may make a bad cast and I may be 6 inches or a foot from where I should be, but the size of that bait's going to draw them out to hit it.
Yeah, they're going to feel it too with action.
Yeah. I don't know that color actually matters. A lot of the soft plastics, I will throw something dark black, June bug in dirty water. Really on the swim baits, I don't think it matters because of the water displacement's making up for anything that they can't see.
That's a good point right there. So
I've got a quick update on the Zaldangers here.
you figured it out.
So this is the beauty of doing this live.
Look at Aaron Parker's comment. So now
that's-
you got to re-rig it, and we floated off the spot.
Yeah. So the beauty of the comment section is somebody suggested, well, why don't you just double it over? So I just doubled it over. So you just put your line on top of each other and send it through the schnoz. And then it does go through there.
Does it go through there easy?
Way easier. Easier.
But listen, I'm designing baits. Don't you think they could have made it just a little less?
I think it just gets hung up at where that magnet goes.
It's like tying a damn FG knot.
And
For those of us that have fat
Is there a
fingers.
hard plastic
And
tube
now we're
that it's
through.
going through?
Yeah, it's a hard plastic
So like
tube.
a coffee straw?
It's
And
kinda-
still not going through it
It's
good?
kind of, it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, so I just pulled it through. We're good. And so now that's where you get your line, then you tie it to your hook and make sure wherever you bent that line over, make sure you cut that off because that's hurting your line.
So you guys like that. Now, Country Boy TV wants to know how long you've been drinking. He hasn't.
No, I don't drink anymore.
He hasn't. So you don't drink anymore? You quit? You on a diet?
I just quit. Tired of the way it makes me feel.
Well, good for you.
Yeah.
More for me. So anyway, Rebecca Pop, check that out. I went out Monday morning on Lanier and couldn't get them to hit a 3/8 Kitech with an underspin. Was marking fish, but they didn't touch it. Now, could it be that this time of year maybe she needed a downsize? They might have hit a 2/8. Or do you still throw the big baits on? Now we're talking Lanier.
I would have switched over to a drop shot.
I would go big.
Damn, John. I mean, Alex, we're talking about swim bait. So you would have.
I'd go bigger.
I can throw that on.
You'd
a
go
drop shot.
bigger.
Yeah, because you got to think of the size of the herring right now. Like Saturday, I was catching them on a 5.4 and a 7.2 bigger. Like the bait, like if you're trying to trigger that strike and get a different bite this time of year, if they're not eating that smaller stuff, go bigger.
Change
Just
color
see what
too.
happens.
Change color a little bit.
Yeah.
So Country Boy TV said it's a line through. It's not supposed to be easy. I understand that. That makes a lot of sense. Nick James, first time viewer right here. Pull him up. First of all, thank you for joining us. Hope you come back again when we don't scare you off. Apologies, gentlemen, for joining in late, but that's okay. Playing catch up on the comments, but I am the only one who can't pronounce Sakamata. Is he the only one? No.
Sakamata. I've heard
Sakamata.
it pronounced Sakamata Shad before.
Shad?
Shad with someone reading off the packaging. So yeah.
Sakamata Shad.
Yep.
Hey, listen.
Anybody can.
Everybody knows if there's a proper way to say something, I'm gonna get it wrong every time. Aaron Parker, does anyone? Oh, so Coleman said they were killing the 3.5 Echo on Hartwell in herring color right there.
Nice.
That was Saturday. Aaron Parker, does anyone ever put chartreuse or orange pin on their swim bait similar to that Zaldangers, particularly in dirty water? I don't know about dirty water, but I do know that on Lanier in the wintertime and sometimes in the summer, guys will dip, like if they're ditch fishing or something with a fluke or that, they will color their tail yellow, chartreuse. Ryan Veeder. What's up, Ryan? Evening, you handsome devil.
Hey, Ryan.
Not as good looking as you do, but hope everything's going good with you. Alex has got a smile on his face. You joining in right there, so it's awesome.
Look at Barksdale.
Ask John how to catch snapping turtles with soft plastic.
I
He's
caught a
nice-
snapping turtle on a buzzbait. I can catch a snapping turtle.
Oh, I
my
know. I
gosh.
know. Clint, now we're back to you.
Yeah.
So he did his second.
Okay.
You
Do
wanna
we
go with
want to
something?
talk about straight tail minnows now?
We can talk about whatever you want. It's soft plastics.
So this is the Cast Echo 5.4. We make it in a 3.5 down to a 2.75, up to a 7.2 right now are the sizes we're playing around with. And so you got the same durability from the Prodigy. So when I was working on this bait with Ryan, I was like, dude, just take a Prodigy and give it a fluke tail. I was like, these guys are catching them on a straight tail minnow. I was like, we need to make one that has the same durability because a lot of people were throwing the Sakamatas at that point. And and you're only getting one or two fish per bait, if that.
yeah.
And so being able to have a bait that you can rig the same way and still get it to roll. So that's one of the huge things in minnow fishing is you want that bait to be able to roll. So we've
Kind of like a spy bait, kind of that little rock and roll.
so it rocks back and forth.
Yeah.
If you're tying it with a loop knot, like we like to do, like I'll tie a loop knot on just about everything. Some people don't believe in it at all. I still do. It's a matter of preference, but you do get more roll out of it with a loop knot, especially thinking about time of year. So you're thinking about if you're trying to move that minnow fast, like I was doing this past weekend. I was throwing this 5.4 in 60 to 80 foot of water on bait ball and spotted bass. And so when you're sinking it down, I had it on a 1/4 ounce head, this one right here. And I was just putting it into that bait ball, and you're just kind of sinking it down. And then as soon as those fish start to come out of that bait ball up towards it, you're pulling it up and away. So you're shaking your rod tip, you're getting it up and away from them. So they'll come up out of that school and just suck it down. And it's a lot of fun, and you still get that durability out of it, which is huge.
Will you answer James Archer's question right there? What pound test are you using for the Echo?
So on this
and
one,
yes, cranking and yanking, he said 80 feet.
Yes.
That's North Georgia, dog.
Yep.
That's
clear
North
water,
Georgia.
baby. Clear water. This fish, the fish I caught out of 75 this weekend, it saw my bait before it was 20 foot down. And so it came up out of that bait in 80 foot and came up and smoked it. So you can definitely catch them deep out here. I've caught them as deep as 90 to 100 feet.
Hella deeper on Carter's.
Yeah. You can catch them real deep. Fontana is another lake, big clear water lake in Western North Carolina. I've caught them super deep.
What you got to understand, cranking and yanking, is around here, North Carolina and all that, spotted bass.
Yep.
Spotted bass and smallmouth. They're sitting down, but they're always looking up. They'll follow your bait down. But what's crazy is you can be over a brush pile in 40 or 50 foot of water on Lake Lanier or any of these lakes, and we're throwing top water, and they will come up. They will just absolutely come up from 40 foot of water, which is crazy because they probably can't see it, but they can, and they will absolutely annihilate a bait. But that is and largemouth will do it some, but spotted bass are crazy. Now, what pound test are you using for that Echo?
So on the 5.4 and the 7.2, I'll go 10 pound. Anything smaller than that, I'm going 8, 7, sometimes 6. So I'll go down to 6 in the wintertime when I feel like trying to get that bait down there and get that action when you're still in colder water.
Are you straight
like
fluoro or are you still on braid?
I'm using 12-pound cast braid to a 6 to 8 pound leader in the wintertime, and then I'll throw 10 pound in the summertime.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. All right.
Do you ever pop the glass rattle out and put a weight in the belly?
So that's been a big thing with minnow fishing lately, is trying to figure out, you have all this weight in the front, right? When you're rigging it on a jig head, you have all the weight in the front, but you're not quite balanced out with the weight on the minnow. Kind of the head of that bait is doing all the action. And sometimes when you're rolling it, it'll either roll up or roll down if you're not working it properly. So to get it more of a baseline, I've got a buddy, Joe LaBarbera, that will take these hooks and wrap lead wire around the shank of the hook. It also makes it a better bait keeper, so you can keep that thing on there longer. So that's an option, but I've also just slid a 3/32 ounce nail weight. And so what that does is that puts the weight down the shank of the hook and just gives that bait a little bit better balance this time of year.
Cranking, I have to laugh at him. He is our resident anti-forward facing sonar.
I don't use forward-facing sonar. So
cranking and yanking, yes. But listen, cranking and yanking. Just on that point, though, think about this. It would be almost impossible to fish for these fish without it at that depth. So I get it. I do get it. I know how you feel about it. But it is something. Those fish will probably hardly ever be caught unless they were right over a brush pile and you were putting a drop shot on them. Yeah.
So
which is kind of impossible.
This technique doesn't come from just forward-facing sonar. Obviously, it's blown it up because everybody can now do this technique. But we've been doing a loop knot and a jig head minnow for 30 years, and we called it tight lining. Like you'd throw it out a bluff wall, you'd let it sink, and then you just slowly shake your rod tip back, and that would keep that bait rocking and rolling without forward-facing sonar. You can still catch them. If you're like a couple weeks ago, we were talking about how to catch fish out of brush piles without forward-facing sonar. So if you're scanning and you scan that brush pile, you mark it on your mapping, and you're looking out there to where your dot is, and you just cast it out there. It's the summertime, so you want to keep it up high and moving fast. So cast past that brush pile, let it sink 5-10 seconds, and then you are burning it back and just working it and reeling it as fast as you can up. And so the biggest thing, especially on herring lakes, is a herring will breach towards the surface. So you always see schooling fish. What a herring does when it gets scared is it's going up. So you want to track that bait up. That's why a riser bait, a Berkeley Credge, things like that gets bit because you can sink it down past the brush pile. You can pull those fish up off the brush pile, and then as soon as it's breaching the surface, that's when they're attacking it. So there's plenty of ways to use this traditionally. You don't have to have forward-facing sonar to fish this bait. And it's also versatile. It's past just the jig head, right? Like I throw this on the back of an underspin in the wintertime. You can cast it out there, sink it, throw it in ditches. You can sling it up beside docks. You can rig it light and weightless. You can put you can nose rig this thing like I was talking about with the Prodigy. There's a whole lot of different ways you can rig it. So don't be closed-minded as far as like just, oh, I have to use forward-facing sonar. I can't fish that bait. I'm not going to buy that bait. Like just because you choose not to use forward-facing sonar doesn't mean you should choose not to catch fish on a good bait.
Yeah, and so I don't want to get in a forward-facing sonar bait, but he is right. Guys have been doing this for a while now. I'm not going to say that forward-facing has not allowed us to see more fish, but who is that? That James Archer? You just blew my mind about the herring. I'll tell you this: I went out with Kevin Underwood, and one thing that he does specific times of the year is once he sees on his, he is using live, but once he sees any fish in a school or whatever, he's throwing down, he's looking, the second that a fish turns to that bait, he is 150 miles as fast as he can back to the boat. And you can't
burning the bearings out of the
burning
reel.
it, and you can't reel it fast enough. Those spotted bass will get it, because you think about a herring. And really cranking and yanking, that has a lot as it is, but with herring lakes, the way a blueback herring is like this. A lot of guys, when they see something on a live, they'll slow down. I've never seen, and Kevin said this, have you ever seen a blueback herring slow down so that it could be eaten? They run like hell. You made the comment that they go up.
Yep. And
that is the one thing. And what forward facing has shown us is the way fish react to certain things like that. So I get it if you don't like it, but they can catch fish without it. Go back up to Rebecca Pop. I saw a comment. She was I'm assuming it's a she. You never know, because some of these guys get on their wives' YouTube because they don't have it. Can you catch them casting behind the boat after seeing them on Clearview? You can. I'll give you a Kevin Underwood tip, and this is for a co-angler. Because the big thing with forward-facing sonar and co-anglers is if your boater is out fishing big water, he or she is looking at a brush pile and all that, and you're on the back of the boat, and you're like, what do you do? Well, in Lake Lanier, they came through and they cut all the timber at what, 30-something feet? 40 feet. So 40 feet down when the lake's at full pool, you're right above the timber. He will take a soft plastic, and he's like, if you just hold it off the boat right about that depth, you can just hold it and let the natural waves, the natural, vibrations of the boat, whatever, and you can sit there and just doodle it. And you would be surprised at how many fish you can pick up. So let's do this. We've been talking about swim baits. We're going to transition into worms. Hey, the Braves scored right there. And pull up Wu-Tang real quick. For me, as a non-tournament angler, forward-facing sonar is not on my sonar, no pun. I enjoy being out away from electronics. I fished an electric-only tournament. When I do that, I don't have forward-facing sonar. I do have a Mega 360, but I fished Saturday and didn't even cut it on. I'm a bank beater, but there are sometimes on these clear water reservoirs that we got, these Highland reservoirs, that it plays, man. That's just understandable.
And the thing is we're all fishermen. We all fish a different way. We always find a different edge that makes us.
There you go.
We have a different style, right? Like every one of us has, like back in the day before forward-facing sonar or electronics in general, you had your flippers, you had your guys that would crank offshore, you had your guys that would find them out off the bank. I mean, everybody has their own techniques, and it's not like I'm just out there scoping a minnow all day, every day, because like I still go up on the bank. I went up on the bank and threw a glide on Saturday and caught a couple fish doing that. So like, you don't limit yourself by thinking, okay, this isn't how I'm going to fish. Like I can still throw a big worm. I can still throw a big swim bait without forward facing sonar, but it's just an efficiency factor in how I like to fish, because I've took the time to learn it and I've took the time to be efficient with it. And it's my most efficient way to fish. And if they take it away, okay, I'm going to still fish the same way I do and still target offshore fish. I'm still going to be pulling up, side scanning, trying to find fish. Like if they take it away in tournaments, that's fine. I'm still going to go side scan them and still probably going to be throwing a minnow. People in the MPFL were throwing a minnow this week, even though it was flooded and people were up in the bushes throwing all kinds of stuff. Like people were still shaking a minnow offshore and still catching fish. Did they win? No. But that's the thing is a lot of people don't see like how those things are those techniques are being used without forward facing sonar.
I like Paul B. I call my style spend money, catch little. Buddy, me and you both. And then Geo, Franco's here. 5-4 Echo works great on the Scrounger. Scrounger is oh, dude. Oh my gosh, the Scrounger is,
and it's a
people
lot
don't
of
talk
fun.
about that enough.
Yeah. And it's a bite happening right now. Like that's one bait I just rigged up. I'm going to Chickamauga this weekend, and like ledge fishing with a big 7.2 on a 1/2 ounce hog farmer Scrounger and being able to sling that thing out there, sink it down, and then just you're slow rolling it off the bottom. Like that's
so couple of things. John G, yes, not having it works. I would say this: I don't have it, I don't need it. But it's not saying I wouldn't use it, but I understand that.
It doesn't make everybody a better fisherman.
I know some guys.
Make you worse.
I know some guys that were, and this is in the electric only world, that were amazing power fishermen. Beat your ass to death with a buzz bait, worm, whatever. They got forward facing sonar, and if you go back and look through the tournament results over the last 3 or 4 years, they are not winning the way they normally would. And I know guys that dominated. So it just depends. We can all agree to disagree. And yes, he does fish a lot of tournaments, and most good old boys, they don't.
Yeah, so
we get it 100%
in his world, and that's fine.
100%. So to each his own, like that. So what we're going to do the question of the night. To the winner tonight, I'm going to send you a Money Saver Lure Retriever. Now, how many answers is on this?
It's a 3-part.
It's a 3-part. Now, okay, guys, I feel like I got to do this every damn episode.
You do. You do, because I don't listen.
For a second, I'm on my soapbox right here for a second, and then after this, we're going to transition into worms and stuff. Okay, we're going to and we'll get away from the forward facing sonar. We're going to go into worms because Lord knows this is the biggest damn set of worms I've ever seen sitting over here to my left. And I'm a wacky guy, so I want to get into the worms. And I love you too, Wu Tang. Love you guys too. It's a big world. We can all get along. That's the problem with a lot of these people, though. If a guy uses forward facing, another guy hates him. We don't do that shit here. We like everybody. Now, though, 3 answers, guys, in the comment section. Please, for the love of all that's holy, don't put 1 answer. Put 3. I'll even be okay if you don't spell it right. Just, please, 3 answers, because what you guys do is there's a guy sitting back, and he knows some of you guys are going to put 2 of the 3 answers, and he's got the other one. Okay, so the winner, I'm going to send a Money Saver Lure Retriever. And also those of you guys that have won in the past, Crankin', I love you, dude. I ain't pointing at you. So I got some of these previous episodes. I'm going to get your prizes out. Okay, we're going to do that. So Alex is going to read the question 2 times while I go take a bathroom break, because this black and tan is calling my name over there. Please put 3. Please put 3. And we are a fishing family, like a bunch of hard-headed ass brothers, 100% Wu-Tang, and that's why I love 100%. You guys. Now, Alex, put the camera on you. Read it nice and slow.
I'm going to read it twice as well.
Read it twice so Kevin Father Time doesn't get pissed at us. And I'll be back. 3-3 Braves. Hell yeah.
Go. All right. So what is the largemouth, smallmouth, and white bass spearfishing record in Utah? What is the largemouth, smallmouth, and white bass spearfishing record in Utah? And go. And then I'm going to show you guys my forward-facing sonar bait.
Let's do it.
The Missile Minnow, also from Tactical Fishing. It's not a split tail, but you can see this thing's got good action. It wobbles a lot. This is the Pro Blue color. And I'll rig this on reverse line tie jig heads. I'll rig it on shaky head. I'll rig it on a drop shot. Any way you want to fish it, you can fish it that way. And we got nobody yet. See, look, there you go.
Come on, Coleman. You've been watching
Follow
the
the
show plenty
instructions.
to know you need 3 answers.
You did it on purpose.
Come on.
Just to make Danny crazy.
19 ounces. I like it.
Oh, here we go. Let's see.
What are we doing?
Jason has one of them.
All right, Jason, you put 3 down, but you got one of the right answers. I don't even know what the hell the answers are tonight, to be honest with you. So as soon as you guys see the right answer, do you see the right answer?
Nope, not yet.
Aaron Parker is close.
Thad's pretty close.
Thad's close.
They need to define the species.
Define the species. So, like, if you put 8 pounds, put 8-pound largemouth. I don't even know what the question is, but put the species. Let's do that. So, anyway, while you guys are doing that, let me go ahead and make this statement. If you put out the, if you had a question or comment up there and we missed it, you definitely need to do it again, because when we do this, everybody's watching for the right answer, and we probably missed it. Are we sure that the answers are right? Because if they're wrong, Duck Dynasty back. Who at Casey?
He's got to specify.
Casey, put
what he's
down the
talking
species. And if you guys can check out Casey's answer and beat him to it, type it in there right there. So anyway, then Google AI is a damn liar, Silverpunk said. That's what you get for Googling. So you guys keep going. And we're going to transition while they're watching for the right answer into worms and tubes and other
Real quick,
stuff.
there was a one from Mick in Australia.
Yeah, I saw that.
I thought that was kind of cool because it was before this thing blew up.
We designed the Prodigy and the Echo before forward-facing sonar really took off. It's been a thing with a thing. Great talk, boys. That's Mick in Australia. Mick, appreciate
cool
you.
Mick's tuning in from
Hey,
Australia.
yeah, I know it. He's a good dude. I've talked to him before. I like him. He's a nice guy. So AI must be lying. So listen, Phil, don't get my ass in trouble with all these people if your answers ain't right.
I pulled him straight from the Utah. I just Googled
Go
it,
to the
and he's
Utah
right.
website, guys.
I just Googled
Hey,
it.
y'all Googled the questions like that. So no, I don't even know how the hell he got it. I just said, hey, about 5 minutes before the show, I said, guys, we ain't got a question of the night. And so these guys, what about Brody?
Right there.
Brody's got the answer. Brody Lindsay, largemouth 10.2, smallmouth 5.5, whiteness. You racist, Brody. Whiteness 13 ounces. White bass, is that what he was doing it?
You missed the comment though. As soon as he asked that question and left.
No, I missed a comment.
Somebody who was like, "What the?"
Oh yeah. Yeah. So listen, I don't know why. That's what happens when you let a guy that's a trout fisherman do your question of the night on a bass show. Kevin was proud. So anyway, all right. So who won it again? Brody?
Brody Lindsay.
All right, Brody. Go to Facebook. Okay. Not Fish North Georgia. Go to Facebook, look up Danny Pruitt, Pruitt. Send me a message with your address, and I will send you a Money Saver lure retriever. Now, what we didn't do, though, we didn't shout out Serve IT.
Oh, we sure didn't, did we?
We get excited.
Yeah.
I had to pee real bad. But anyway, Serve IT. My buddies at Serve IT, they're cool. We ain't got to worry about it. We can slip on it tonight. I promise you, he's not going to get mad at me tonight. So let's do this. Let's transition now into worms. Everybody's got their favorite technique or whatever. Me, as anybody watches this show knows, I'm a wacky worm guy. Yamamoto, the 5-inch Cinco, is by far, to me, superior to any other worm out there when it comes to throwing a wacky. Now, the problem is this. It's just like a damn Kitech. Now, did you know, you guys asked me this, did you know for the longest time, everybody talked about the salt content in a Yamamoto?
I got salt content right here.
Well, here's the thing. A Yamamoto Cinco does not have salt in it.
Really?
It is white sand.
Oh.
I had a very wise man tell me about that. So if you melt down a
His name
Yamamoto.
Gary.
No,
Yamamoto.
Gary didn't call me. Gary didn't call me. But one of my better friends was telling me about it. If you melt down a Yamamoto Cinco, you're going to get the plastisol or whatever the hell it's made out of, and you're going to get this absolute white sand. I always thought Yamamoto had salt in it. Anytime I would put a ring on it and to throw it wacky and I would pull it through, you would see those grains come up.
When you cut them too, you see it.
You would see it. And I thought it was salt.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, Zoom has salt in it.
Mm-hmm.
So Zoom has salt, but Yamamoto has white sand. Now, of course, if somebody's watching from Yamamoto and I'm incorrect, we're going to blame it on my buddy. But I did not know that. But I think a Yamamoto Cinco is by far the most, of all worms out there, that little 5-inch Cinco is the most superior fish catching plastic worm out there. Salt and silica sand, Derek said. Steve Billington, I licked it and it didn't taste like sand.
Did it taste like pennies?
Yeah. Listen, Steve, I could go so many ways with that comment, but I'm going to refrain because my wife might be watching. Will Elms, homemade wacky worms can change the amount of salt I put in a batch. So I have some that sink different speeds for sure. But anyway, that's my favorite. I like throwing a wacky worm. You got Doug Rice is like a Zoom 4-inch dead ringer, Carolina rig, small bait, gets me more bites than anything I fish with. Barksdale says the Z-Man worms are the deal, but once the salt gets out, they won't sink. But that Elastec lasts, slide a nail weight in it, use it for a Nico rig. I don't like the Z-Man baits. And I don't throw it as much. I used to throw a lot of Ned rigs. And I couldn't stand putting them things. I just don't like pulling out a thing of super glue when I'm fishing. But I get that. Eddie, let's see. Bottom Line Outdoors. Pull up Andy Miller. And right above it, you ain't got to change it. But Aaron Parker said word is that it's black sand from Hawaii. Gary Wise said he used popcorn salt since it was smaller grains. They may have changed it since the garage poured days. It's sand according to my buddy. Pull up, go up, keep going up one more. Spencer Howerton. Lanier baits need some salt or sand. Or weight in their flukes. And we can talk about flukes too. Let's just, for the last hour, we're going to talk about everything. So if you want to have a comment about flukes, we'll do flukes. Braves are winning 5-3. Hell yeah, I love it. Big Bite Baits has their wacky worm. I want a worm that sinks faster than a Seiko, but has the same shimmy. And that's the thing about a Yamamoto, because I'm weightless. That action.
Mm-hmm. So the Google says it's a combination of salt and silica sand.
Okay, silica sand, which is what, glass?
Yeah.
Silica is glass, so glass sand. So, but still, I always thought it was pure salt. And I don't use an O-ring. That's another thing too. If I am bomb ass in a weightless wacky, I will put an O-ring in it. But if I'm up close quarter fishing, I'd rather not.
I use the VMC.
The VMC.
Crossovers.
So do I.
Those are good. But that's my favorite worm. So what's your guys' favorite worm? And we'll start on the right with you, Clint. What's your favorite worm? Or we can talk fluke, whatever.
So I figured you'd be talking wacky rig.
Hell yeah.
So I figured I'd go somewhere different. This is a bait that I've actually been catching them on lately that's kind of different. So obviously the old monster is a staple. Like I've thrown this thing on a Carolina rig back in the day out of the kayak, no forward-facing sonar. And so I've thrown an old monster for a long time, but I saw this color when I was at the Elite at Hartwell, and I was like, ooh, no dinks on pink. You'll catch some bigs doing it. So what I started doing.
Hold on a second. What now?
No dinks on pink. You don't catch small ones on pink.
I'm gonna tell my wife that.
Yeah,
there we go.
Exactly. And so the cool part about this, I want to say it's called Old Purple for you old purples out there in the comments and young purples. Anyway, so what I've been doing is I've been rigging it Texas rigged with an EWG hook, but not using a bullet weight. I've been using a free rig weight. So what a free rig weight is just looks like a drop shot weight, but it slides freely up the line. Therefore, you get a free rig. So what I've been doing with this is pitching it back. And so it's similar to using your Texas rig that's not pegged, but for some reason I feel like it gives it more of a free action because it's not. The way it slides down the line is a lot more aggressive. Like you have a lot more friction with a Texas rig bullet weight. And with the free rig, you don't have that. It slides a lot slicker down.
Do you almost kind of get the Carolina rig action out of it?
Similar, yes.
Because it's kind of floating kind of behind a little bit.
And so when you find fish that are piled up out off a point, especially summertime, ledge fishing, Chickamauga, TVA lakes, Gunnersville, things like that, but even spotted bass, I've been catching spotted bass out of brush piles on this thing. I think it's just something a little bit different. I like the color a lot. I think spotted bass love the color a lot, but I've been able to catch some fish on this on a free rig, and it's been a lot of fun.
Get Aaron Parker. Pull that up. That not his second one, but his first one. Where are you getting those free rig weights? They ain't nowhere local. You can take a drop shot weight, close, take a pair of pliers, close where the line normally goes up and hooks and stays. If you close that shut really tight, it almost can work like a free rig weight, correct?
You really want an actual free rig weight.
If you can't find them.
Yep. So 6 cents makes a great one. you can find them in your local tackle shop or just a drop shot weight with the open line tie, basically, because that will slide and have less friction. The biggest thing is the friction when you're talking about a free rig. Is if you try to modify a drop shot weight that has like the pinch and try to open it up, like it's just going to fray your line. You're not going to get that same action out of it. So when you're bowing up and casting, you're making big, long casts with it. If you're not fishing it to structure and you just find fish piled up off a ledge or rock pile or something like that, you can bow it up real long, make a big, long cast. And when you're dragging it through like you would with the Carolina rig, it's just something a little bit different. It's a lot better. Like your Carolina rig, you're not going to pitch to standing timber near as much, and you can kind of get that same presentation without having line you're worried about getting hung up because your weight's way over here and your bait's over here. Fishing around standing timber like in Texas or wherever you have standing timber. I mean, we have plenty of lakes in Georgia with it as well, but it's a great technique to change it up a little bit. Like we're always looking for that innovation, a little bit of edge, like than your standard Texas rig old monster. So give the free rig a try. But 6 cents makes a great weight. I like a 3/8 or a quarter. So I'm still going pretty light with that. Like the 3/8, I'm fishing as deep as like 60 foot. Or you can get away with a quarter, but I wouldn't go much lighter than a quarter when you're, especially with this much plastic. You want something to kind of actually weight that plastic down.
I got you. So I see a lot of comment sections about a lot of people in the comment section. I say a lot. Several of you have talked about like a Zoom trick worm. One had it on a drop shot, and then I think it was Spencer said something about on Lanier. I hate to say it, if I'm throwing a shaky head on Lanier, I'm either throwing a Zoom trick worm, not the mag shaky head. I throw a Zoom trick worm or the Berkeley Max scent. So I throw a full size that. I see a lot of different ones. Aaron Parker says, what weight would you use? Barksdale's talking about cream worms.
I'd throw.
They catch. They do catch. What would you do?
If he's referring to the old monster, I'd throw a quarter and 0 to 8, and I would throw a 3/8 and 8 to 15 with current. Because when you have current, it does affect the action a lot. So having that 3/8 gets it down there in that shallow of water with that current. So river fishing, you can still fish an old monster in the river. A lot of people are scared to throw bigger baits in the river. They don't see bigger baits in the river a whole lot.
Right.
So when you have current, or you're talking about TVA generation, or you're fishing up in the headwaters or something, like you want to make sure that bait's still maintaining action. When you have a lot of current and you're sitting there picking up on things, sometimes if you have a lot of current, go up to a half and see how that works out. But you don't want to get hung up in the rocks. Like that's one big thing. When you have current, you typically have a lot of chunk rock around, things like that. So keep that in mind. You don't want to be breaking off weights left and right. So just kind of play around. I would go anywhere between a quarter and up to a half if you have to. And that's if the current's ripping, like you're at the headwaters in Nickajack or something like that.
I got you. So I'm going to go to John next, but real quick, pull up Silver Punk, because I know you and I share the same opinion right here. Mm-hmm. He says a Z-Man SMH worm, but here's the part at the end. On a Spro skip gap. I'm telling you right now, they finally come back out with them. That is one of the most legit shaky head setups, hook setups out there.
I haven't had a fish come off once.
That Spro skip gap is legit.
It won a Bassmaster Elite Series trophy.
It is absolutely, in my opinion, the best shaky head out there. Mm-hmm. Got a Gamakatsu hook too.
Yep.
But just the shape and the design of it is amazing. Now, of course, let's see. Now, Bottom Line Outdoors, Reaction Innovation Pocket Rocket. I could go so many places with that Pocket Rocket comment.
Got a lot of good names.
The way they name their baits. Now, John, guys, I want you to look at this here a second. John is a big bass hunter. If ever there was a John Holmes of worms, it is laying on my table right here. John, please show some of these guys the size of the worms that you have.
Well, first,
right
let's start off. If I just had to have one, it would be a black Zoom trick worm.
It would. I get it.
Because they would catch fish out of a mud hole.
Right.
But once I started throwing the bigger baits and you're getting followers that won't commit to a swim bait, then I'm throwing in a standard sized worm and I'm picking up a little fish that's then blowing up the spot because I'm dragging him out of a tree.
Yep.
So I actually saw this company, Magnum Baits, on.
And boy, he ain't lying when he says Magnum.
Saw him on Instagram, and ordered from them. And then in that order, they included a free sample pack of the mag tube. So I just sent them an email thanking them for the free sample. Had a conversation with the owner, and he is a swim bait guy too.
Mhm.
And he designed these as a follow-up bait to a hard swim bait.
Yeah, hold some of them
And
jokers
yeah,
up.
they're huge. That's a 10-inch wacky.
A 10-inch wacky.
VMC does make the crossover rings. This is a 8mm ring, so they do make the crossover rings that fit them. The advantage of using the crossover on a
Let me see
bait
that thing.
that's that thick is the hook is completely exposed.
Yeah.
So you don't have a 1/2 inch of plastic.
Now,
blocking the hook pointer.
guys, look.
See if that's salt or sand, Danny. What does it taste like?
I don't know, but I saw a couple guys said I'm not
I just
licking a
wanted you to
Magnum.
lick my worm.
I licked your worm there,
Yeah.
John. Now listen, though, guys, seriously, that's the biggest damn Cinco I've ever seen in my life, right there. 10-inch.
That's a 10. They've got,
Look at that,
which
thing.
is like a trick worm.
My
And it's an
Lord.
8-inch, which I used to throw a lot of the KVD bull worms in 8 and
Yep.
10. This is just an 8-inch, but it's a lot thicker.
That is as thick as a dime.
So I'm throwing it on a Gamakatsu 6-aught EWG.
Yeah.
These, although they do feel pretty salty, are actually very buoyant. And I'm putting some weight on them. Like if I try to throw that one weightless, it's just taking forever. And
that's
I got
a dang wacky
I got no
anaconda.
patience.
No wonder John likes going up there.
What do you say?
Guys, Barksdale, because I said lick your worm.
Oh, there
Hey,
you go.
that. What's that big one right there?
Now
That's the one.
this one's cool. This one is their Nico worm, and they make all of these in normal conventional size
They do.
as well. It's just you know what I'm going to do.
I know what you're going to do.
This one is their Nico, so I've got a nail weight in it. I've
What
got
the
it
hell? You
rigged
got a
up.
1/2 pound nail weight to get that thing down, though.
Well, I fish shallow. It
I
don't
know.
take
I know
much.
you do.
Again, this is a 6-aught EWG Gamakatsu. I got it rigged up chicken rig, which actually fits in the grooves on them. But if you see the videos on these, I mean, the tails these things look awesome.
The action's awesome.
Yeah.
So you know what's funny with that though is this is the same guy that what was that? Was it Missile Baits came out with that
The monster.
The
I do
monster
have
jig with
I
the
have not
11
caught any
aught-
fish on that
the
monster.
11-aught hook.
10.
Is it 10 or
It's
11?
a
But anyway,
10.
whatever. It's like a shark hook. You bought one.
Right.
He likes throwing big baits. Those
But
are
that
the
thing is so heavy
yeah.
that it just drags up every blade of grass,
Oh,
every junk with it. So I've had a hard time actually catching fish on the monster.
Where-
jig.
What kind of trailer are you putting on a monster jig?
The AA Bad Bubba, that big 7-inch.
Good Lord, you got to do that. Where would you be throwing these? I'm a whack. So just take
anywhere
this.
there's fish.
Okay, but just take this. Saturday I was on Latham. You had to throw these things up in 6 inches of water. I was throwing a regular,
And honestly, it's going to
dinger,
depend. What I do is I start every day throwing big baits.
Yeah.
Not every day do big baits work. So I'm going to throw the big swim baits. If I see a follower, if I kind of got an idea of fish are there, I'm going to follow it up with a big soft plastic. If it doesn't work, you're going to have to drop down. But always start. I mean, go to the laydown. If you're fishing history and you know the area, you know a laydown where fish are. Do you want to go up there and blow it up catching a 2.5 pound? Or do you want to go up there and give it the best shot you have to catch the biggest fish out of that laydown on your first cast?
Do you find you catch bigger bass consistently with bigger worms?
Yes. But
Okay.
I also, they got no sense.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll catch a fish smaller than the worm.
I think
mean,
of them like an
length.
English Mastiff that doesn't know how big it is. Like it's like they don't know how big they are.
Yeah. I mean,
Right.
I've caught little dink largemouth that are almost the same size as a swim bait, and they're just stuck to it. They can't even swim because they're hooked on their head and their tail.
Yep.
Look at Jim Wright's comment. I use an owner 11-aught hook on my Carolina rig using an old monster or Magnum trick worm.
That's aggressive.
That is aggressive. That's a good way to say it. That's a big ass hook. What do you? Let me ask you this, because I throw my wacky on a spinning rod. It's finesse technique. What are you throwing? I mean, you're throwing that with a bait caster, right?
Correct. My regular 5-inch Cinco, I'm throwing on a 7-foot medium spinning rod with its 10-pound straight braid.
that.
This guy is going on. I got a FX 7.4
Mhm.
heavy plus mod fast. I like a more moderate rod on the kayak. It helps keep it loaded up when you're fighting a fish.
Right.
And I'm throwing it on 30-pound straight braid. I color the
30 pounds
first.
straight braid.
I'm coloring the first 2 feet or so with a black Sharpie. I don't know if it makes a difference, but it does to me.
Tell everybody what you told me about that beforehand. You color the first part of the braid, but then what do you
I
do?
color it the night before because I think they're going to smell the
The
Sharpie.
Sharpie.
So I let it dry, and then before I throw it, I take the Spike It marker and mark it right around the hook so it smells like something besides Sharpie. It makes no sense. It makes no difference.
I thought that was
I don't even
funny.
think coloring the line makes a difference, but it does to my
To
brain.
you, it's a confidence thing for you.
And if I don't have confidence, I'm not going to throw it consistently enough to then build confidence in a big bait at all.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. You don't tournament fish a lot,
No.
but if you were tournament fishing, would you even bring these out of the box?
It depends. I do not fish the one-day tournaments. I fish the kayak tournaments that typically last a month. Until I get my 5, I'm throwing conventional tackle. But for example, the one I'm in now that ends July 4th, I've got to have 4-pound or bigger fish to cull.
So you're going to throw the bigger baits the rest of the time?
Yeah, I mean, unless it's just a day where they're not going to hit a big bait at all, and I'm
Mhm.
going to have to drop down conventional tackle and just start throwing 13 or 14-inch fish overboard until I can find a big one, I'm going to go with a big bait. Like I said, I'm at the point now I need 4-pound or bigger, so we're starting the day with big baits.
I understand. So I'm going to get to you here right here in a second, Alex, but pull up Brandon Coleman's comment. I found some of the bigger hooks won't hook them in the throat as much, especially with big worms.
Makes sense.
I get that. So
I see that even with the EWG. It seems like they don't choke them quite as bad.
yeah.
Now, on these big 6-aught EWGs, you better swing for the fences when you set the hook.
Oh, you got to cross their eyes.
You're going through a lot of plastic. You get a lot.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And typically they're in heavy cover, and you're throwing heavy line, and you better let them have it and don't let them bury up in that grass.
I got you. All right, Alex. I know you're itching at the bit back there.
What does tactical fishing
What
make for a
tactical
worm?
fishing? Yeah, what tactical fishing worm are you throwing?
I have 2.
I knew you did.
I've got the swagger stick.
The what now?
Swagger stick.
So that's basically a Cinco style bait.
Yeah. It's got some salt in it, but it's also it's got a groove in it for your O-ring right there by the egg sac, and you can section it too. So now you've got a Ned rig,
Oh yeah, I got you.
you know. And then he's got the 7-inch private
Private
speed worm.
speed worm. You know, I've been hearing a lot more people talking about speed worms here lately.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Baron Adams was talking about throwing a speed worm at night.
Yep.
Right there. So
And this
interesting.
one also, you can section it. You can pop that tail off right there and have a mag shaky head.
Okay, I got you. I got you. So let me ask you this, and John, I'm gonna come back to you. So when it's tactical fishing, right?
Yeah, tactical fishing.
What are you
company.
laughing at?
We just got somebody that's way behind in the show. That just
Steve Sturgeon.
He just-
That ship has already sailed, big
that was
dog.
26 minutes ago, brother.
He needs to hit the live button.
Yeah.
That
Catch up.
ship's already sailed. But appreciate you taking a shot at that question of the night right there. So there must be some drag. That's what I found on Google AI. So what is it about tactical fishing, as far as the quality of the worm, that you like?
Durability.
The durability.
Mhm.
Because I find that, to me, some of the best durability. How many of you guys actually throw Broke Bass Boys? First time being able to join in on live. I always listen to the podcast. Well, Broke Bass, we appreciate you joining us, buddy. If you're not busy during the middle of the day, 12 o'clock Eastern time, I'm gonna start doing that lunch thing. It's called lag, sir, not drag. Hey, I got you there, country boy. All right, but listen, so durability. So how many of you guys throw the Berkeley Maxent?
Only for smallmouth.
Only for smallmouth.
come up
You guys
north.
throw it?
I have thrown the what is it? The hit worm.
The hit worm. I
Yeah.
like the mag one. I like the big one.
Mhm.
I find it to be pretty durable. I find Zoom to be pretty durable.
Mhm.
You've thrown Zoom before.
Mhm.
Zoom is kind of like the industry standard. That's
Yeah.
the good old boy standard. Compared to a Zoom worm, tactical fishing.
Customer service.
Not customer. I'm talking about like as far as the worm itself.
Oh no, it's great. It's great. I mean, it's just as good quality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you like it.
I like it.
Okay.
I like it a lot.
What about you on that old Magnums right there? As far as that what the hell's the name of that company?
MagnumBaits.com.
Magnum Baits. What do you, as far as the quality and everything? And I get the customer service. That's important with everything. But as far as comparing them to the industry standard, say Zoom, as far as the material and what it's made out of.
I mean, durability, I haven't had a problem with. Honestly, it's just because of the profile they offer.
Gotcha.
There's very few companies. I mean, you can go with a man for 16-inch worm or whatever it is, but it's still a very small diameter. It's not a big bait. It's a long bait.
Right.
And you'll still have a 12-inch spot, smoke that whole thing.
You will.
Yeah.
What do you think about Tim McGuire's and the Zumo monster and all that? So when it comes to worms, back in the day, and again, I'm older than you guys. So in the 80s, all we threw was a ribbon tail worm. We threw a Zoom or we threw a culprit. You know, they still catch fish. But you don't see a lot of people. Now, you held up a ribbon tail.
Yep.
But that's not the big thing nowadays with the shaky head. It's gone more to the stick style, trick worm kind of baits and all that. But they've always caught fish.
They still do.
They still
I'll
catch
throw
fish.
like a black 10-inch ribbon tail at night.
But also, too, on these reservoirs we fish, everybody's gone to more of the shaky head style presentation as far as the Texas rig. I grew up throwing a Texas rig. That's all you threw in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s. We didn't throw shaky head. The red shad culprit used to be awesome, and it still is cranking and yanking. It is. But how come the Texas rig, when it comes to soft plastics, has fallen out of favor in North
That's
Georgia?
how I fish this speed worm is on a Texas
You
rig.
still throw a Texas rig?
Yeah, on a
I
5-aught hook.
know Dana Smith with SCP, he still throws a lot of Texas rigs. But look in the standard tackle box of the average guy around here, especially those that fish Allatoona, Lakeland, near the bigger lakes. We talked about it, Spro Skipgap. It's the shaky head presentation, and I think that lends itself to a different style of worm. But everybody's talking about the old monster and everything. How come that's not as popular?
I mean, I think it might just be something that's just not as talked about, and I think that just goes with the times, right? Like the way people are fishing, you're trying to finesse down to get as many bites as possible, and I mean, a lot of guys aren't fishing for that kicker as often. They're trying to catch the same quality. Like you'd rather catch 5 4-pounders than try to catch 1 6-pounder. As well, a lot of guys in the tournament, but you look at tournament fishing, it's so small. Like you look at how many fishing licenses are sold, the amount of tournament fishing in there is so small. It's ridiculous.
For sure.
And we like to put ourselves in that box. Like kind of what we were talking about with Paul Bork is like you are looking through that snow globe and that little keyhole, and you get so dialed into that one little keyhole. But like people are still throwing all of these baits all over the country, and it is regional relative. Like I'm going to pick up a shaky head before I pick up an old monster on most herring lakes, just because if I'm throwing a worm, I'm trying to get bit by, I don't care if it's a 14-inch spot or how big it is. But when you're trying to throw it in largemouthy looking stuff, or you're trying to it's hard to catch a spot on a 10-inch ribbon tail worm.
Yeah.
It is. But you can still do it. And I think being a little bit different helps get a couple extra bites. Now, if I throw that old monster at 40 spots, I might get 1 or 2 of them to bite. Whereas if I throw a shaky head at 40 spots, I might get 10 or 15 of them to bite.
That's right.
So it's a matter of efficiency at the end of the day. And I think that's why it doesn't get talked about, because people are about getting bites, right?
Yeah. So a lot in the comments. First of all, Coleman Jones, the Alka-Seltzers, we used to throw them in bedded bass back in the 80s. Pantyhose and Alka-Seltzers. I know that's not right, and I know you guys don't hate me, but that's back in the 80s. All right, we didn't have a lot of morals back then. That's why it's the best generation out there. The best decade ever is the 80s. I see a lot of things up there. Mag trick worm over traditional trick worm. Red seems to be a very popular color. X-Zone is a very good up-and-coming bait. They make some good ones. It's just the Texas rig just has seemed to fallen out of favor. But like you said, on these spotted bass lakes and everything like that.
And I mean, it's not just spotted bass. I mean, a red bug 7-inch Strike King finesse worm won the classic this year. And it's about versatility of like, what can you do with it? How can you present it to these fish? How can you be a little bit different? And it's like red bug trick worm's been around forever.
Yes, it has.
And it still gets bit.
It does.
It wins trophies. It does get bit. So it's a matter of confidence at the end of the day. I feel like people just shrink down the size and profile because that's what they have confidence in.
Steve Billington Fishing, pull that up. Now, this is true. Now, this is something I've noticed. When it comes to creature baits, and you're getting ready to show it, Alec, I'll let you pull that up. When it comes to creature baits, Texas rig still is the way most people will rig those.
Mhm.
And then Spencer Howerton has a good point right here. We also fish a clean lake here on there. We don't really have a lot of not stagnant. What's that damn water called when it's kind of
Stagnant. When
no? There's a term for it. What is it?
What, tannic?
dirty,
Tannic.
yeah.
Tannic water. Tannic water. But he says, pull up Spencer's comment right there. We also fish a clean lake here on there, but lakes with grass, it's more productive for an old monster or a speed worm. Speed worm is a dominant worm in Florida lakes.
Up in South Carolina too.
Different kind of water. And so sometimes we do kind of pin ourselves back in a little corner thinking Lake Lanier is, which it is, the fishing capital of the world.
Speed worms work in timber.
Yeah. Brackish water, Steve Billington, that's a good one. Cranking and Yankee News X zones. Pull up Broke Bass Boys. I love names like that. I just started listening to you guys a couple months ago, but there's one rig I never hear you guys talk about, and it makes me feel like I got a secret weapon or something. Broke Bass.
Spill it.
Listen, there ain't no gatekeepers here. We're trying to help everybody catch more fish. That's the point of this. So Broke Bass, put that crap in the comments. We want to know what your secret weapon is. All right. So, but a lot of guys up there at Barksdale Shitwater. That's
what
Ackworth.
I'm fishing.
That's what it's called.
And, Barksdale and Will Elms are both in the tournament I'm fishing.
I know you got to
And
catch
they're
them.
both ahead of me.
You got to catch them.
Josh is in second. Will's in third. I'm in fifth.
Oh,
So North Georgia boys are repping pretty well in this thing.
they are. So Billington says here in Missouri, in the Grass and Rock Lakes, I guess he's talking about those speed worms. And he says, please God, say it forward facing sonar. We don't do that. McGuire says, broke bass do tell. Listen, that's the thing about this FNGO family here. There are no secrets. We're trying to help everybody. We're a family. You got to help us out, Broke Bass. What is your secret plastic worm? Now, the old ball and chain is making a comeback. It never left. More guys are talking about that.
Yeah, a buddy of mine is just excellent. He has the patience that I do not have.
Yeah.
But, man, he can smoke.
Here we go. Tokyo rig.
Yeah, Farmer talks about that.
Tokyo rig, 5-aught with a Crush City cleanup crawl. I've got all three of my biggest spots on it in South Georgia. I got that.
He's right though. We don't talk about Tokyo.
We don't talk about Tokyo rig a lot. We really
Hey,
don't.
Walton showed up.
Walton didn't. He got a new bun out of the oven.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing to me that there's somebody in this world that will procreate with Walton Doyle.
He's a good-looking man.
Huh?
I said he's a good-looking man.
You said it. I didn't say it. Walton, I love you. You know that. You know that. So anyway, okay. So let's go ahead because we got a little bit of time left too. Let's transition. We can still talk worms, but flukes. We ain't talked about a fluke tonight. What's your favorite fluke style bait brand?
Just that ham bone Zoom super fluke.
Zoom is the standard. Now I will tell you one that I don't like. Berkeley came out with that Max Scent fluke they got right there, and I threw it, and it's just like I didn't like it. I just didn't have confidence in it. Maybe guys are catching them like hell on it. I didn't like that, but I am like you. Pull out a Zoom. Now Lanier Baits makes a decent one.
Kevin Underwood makes
The thing about Underwood is his colors.
Mm-hmm.
His colors are just kind of his colors. What do you got right there, Clint, in your hand?
So I was fishing a Zoom Super Fluke forever. And then I picked up a caffeine shad and I didn't have to. So when you're fishing a fluke, a lot of people fish a fluke a different way. But I feel like the salt in the caffeine shad or whatever they use, in hell, it might be sand.
You never know these days, right?
But the way that it swims like a herring when you're pulling it, so like when you're talking about pulling a fluke instead of working it, like nothing works better than a Zoom Super Fluke when you're actually giving it the English on the end of the rod tip. But when you're pulling a fluke and you want it to do that herring-esque quiver that it does, 4-aught EWG and a Strike King caffeine shad is one of the deadliest baits on a herring lake. It gets bit. It's just so much fun to fish too because you can bomb it. It's got plenty of weight to it, so you can throw it weightless. You can bomb it super far on a spinning rod, and you can just give it 3 reel twitches, kind of like how I fish an OG. Like it's like rod tip down, 3 reel twitches, and it'll just burn and sweep. You can sweep it. You can throw it on 10 or 12 pound on a bait caster and sweep it that way if you like that. I prefer spinning rod, but everybody's a little bit different. But the caffeine shad is so versatile.
Let me ask you this question. One of the biggest complaints I hear about a Zoom fluke, guys say sometimes because of the way they package them, you got to boil them to get them to straighten it out, whatever like that. But my biggest problem with a Zoom fluke is it blowing out of the water.
Yep.
Coming up top.
You got to put a weight in the belly.
See, I don't think you should have to do that shit.
Yep. You can just 4-aught this thing and sling it, and it ain't gonna.
So you don't nose hook it, because I know Jimbo, he likes to nose hook because he thinks it gives his fluke more action.
So fluke guys, everybody that gets super in depth with the fluke thinks it's all these little things, and I feel like, I mean, it looks like a herring. There's nothing that looks more like a herring in the water than a super fluke or a caffeine shad.
I agree.
In my opinion,
I agree.
Nothing more looks like a herring as a plain Jane soft plastic than a fluke or a caffeine shad. And I think, I mean, you can rig it a ton of different ways. Been in the back of the boat with plenty of Elite Series guys, and they're doing little nail weights and nose rigs and different keepers and things like that just to get it weighted down different. And it's like, for me, if I'm going to throw a fluke and I'm going to be going through a pack of these a day, like, I don't want to have to be spending all my time in the bottom of the boat trying to get back into that school. And just a 4-aught EWG on a caffeine shad, for me, keeping it simple, works.
So I'll get to some of them comments here in a section, but let me ask you this. What is the durability on a caffeine shad compared to, because let's just say this.
I'd say 3 or 4 fish.
Zoom is the standard.
Yeah.
On a lot of things. Compared to a Zoom.
I'd say
similar, or
I'd say it's similar. I wouldn't say there's a whole lot of difference there. It's just kind of, the bait's going to run a little bit more true, and you're going to have a little bit more consistent of an action. I don't think the durability is much different, in my opinion. I think it's about the same, but you can still get your value out of it. Like, if I'm catching a bunch of spots on it, I'll go through 3 or 4 in a day and like catch 20 or 30 fish.
So, and guys, you got some great comments going on in there. I ain't got time to read them all. But Silverpunk says using a swivel helps keep it weighed down. And I know a lot of guys do that with a trick worm. Especially, I saw somebody in the comments earlier talking about methylate and all that. So when you bubble gum and methylates come out in the spring, a lot of guys will use that swivel about 12 inches, 18 inches up to keep it down. I just don't think you should have to do that. Now, Phil says great striper bait. Yes, it is. So, but let me ask you this question, because I was listening to what you said, Clint, and I'm going to get to you guys here in a second, but I was listening to what you said. You don't use the rod to impart movement. You're just reeling it?
Just reeling it. Yeah.
3 times and let it kick?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Steve Billington. Alex, seriously, the smoothest board op I've seen on a podcast. This is my first one. We'll try and make it weekly.
Yeah, well, thanks. He's done a really
He has, and he's still learning. He is getting so much better than when he first started. You know what he used to do there, Steve, is he'd get so caught up in the comments.
Or I'd zone out over here.
He would zone out and watching that thing, and I'd be talking, and the camera would be on somebody else. He has come a long way. So, but hey, listen, that's high praise.
Yeah, I like it.
Good for you, dude.
Thanks, guys.
Good for you. All right, so, but reeling it, 3 reels gives you all. It's like a real production. Hey, Steve, listen, like we really do try. We really do try for a bunch of rednecks here in North Georgia. We try. We just don't take our ass too serious like some of the other podcasts do. We like to keep this like we're sitting around a campfire with a cold beer talking. All right, John, you don't have to go fluke. You don't have to do whatever. We're talking about flukes, but you don't have any flukes on there. You got a couple of different ones. So I'll let you talk about what you got. And then Alex has got a fluke in his hand, or fluke style bait. So I'm going to get you, John.
All right.
Go ahead with what you got.
I'm just going with the jig trailers.
You like the missile
baits, Chunky D. And I throw everything on a wobble head.
Boy, that's a Tim McGuire thing, if anything.
He's about to comment. I can see it coming. Tim's about to comment.
Tim's got a chub right now. He's a wobble head.
Well, to me,
wobble head.
It's so versatile. I can work it like a jig. I can burn it like a wobble head's supposed to be. I can use it almost as a shaky head, depending on what's on it. And I don't have as much room to pile a whole bunch of crap on my kayak as you might have in a bass boat. So something I can use for multiple things. So wobble head. I like the Missile Baits Chunky D. And, of course, that's the 5-inch beef craw, also from Magnum Baits.
Beef craw.
Which was actually designed to go on.
Is that damn big?
This is the Dirty Jigs No Jack. So it's a 5-aught heavy hook, and that bait was designed to go on it.
Look at the size of that
And the
thing.
beef craw gets bit. When I
The
filmed
beef craw.
when I filmed with Brandon Polinick out, and we were out in Washington fishing this lake, and Jake Boomer, the owner of Alpha Angler, was fishing. We were like, "What are you throwing?" And he was throwing a big beef. He's like, "The beef craw, dude. You don't throw it." And we were like, "What is he throwing?" And me and Brandon were sitting there giving him shit. And then he's like, he meets up with us like after an hour. He's like, "How's it going?" And we're like, "Oh, we caught a couple cranking or whatever, and doing this." And he's like, "Dude, we've caught like 10 over 4 pounds on the beef craw." And we're like, "What?"
Yeah.
And he's just sitting there like, "Dude,
And
the
you
beef
can
craw."
and you
it's
can
legit.
actually burn it back, and it'll come back like a horny toad
yeah.
up on top of the water kicking.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Really?
a very versatile bait.
You know, a lot of baits are versatile. That's the thing about it. Like Kevin said, after licking that worm, I need a shot of tequila. Got to drive home tonight, though. So, okay, everybody, we got a special announcement before I get to Alex. Broke Bass Boy says he has one more tidbit of juice that he'd like to share with you guys that chase spots. So, do tell. Do tell. So, in the comment section, throw it out there and I'll read it. Now, Steve Billington says, beef crawl sounds like some of my moped nights at the bar. Listen, when I get a box of Kitex in here, I always say a box of Kitex smells like a bad Saturday night back in the 80s. 100% it does like that. And I will tell you this. Listen, this is no lie. I open up a box of Kitex here. I wash my hands because I'm not going home to Mrs. Pruitt with that on my fingers.
The old squid scent.
I am not going home with that on my fingers. I hate to say that, but I'm like, guys, hey, listen, Kitex will get you in some trouble. So pull up Broke Bass Boys real quick, and then I'm going to get to you, Alex, because I know you got a tactical fishing thing back there you want to show.
I got a couple.
Yeah, I know you do. We're going to do this. I fish in central South Georgia, and there's a lake, all electric, that 90% spot, 10% largemouth. I fished 4 tournaments at it, and it usually takes 9 to 21 pounds, 5 fish limit to win. It's in Macon, Georgia. If someone would like to take a guess what he's doing, you guys can guess in the comment. It might be Juliet, or it might be that one all the way down in South Georgia, that new one, but whatever. Let us know. All right, listen, my job is to get you to guess. It ain't my job to guess your damn shit. So tell us, Broke Bass Boys, Alex, what bait? I know you've been itching back there.
I kind of showed it briefly earlier because I've been messing with it on the forward-facing sonar heads. But
Don't let cranking and yanking know that.
This is the TFC fluke style bait is what it was. So
Yeah.
I'll rig this with a 4/0 Texas 4/0 hook, Texas style, and then I'll also nose hook it with a screw lock.
When would you nose hook it as opposed to the Texas?
When I'm
hook?
trying to work it on the surface.
I wonder if he's talking about high falls. Sorry, it just came.
High Falls.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot of Lake Lucas. I've heard of that. So spinnerbait was a question. I'm gonna get back to you, Alex. I ain't gonna leave you there because I know you're dying to talk about those baits. So Broke Bass, we've had a spinnerbait guest, but since it is soft plastics, I'm gonna the conversation, and I'm assuming that's what it is, some kind of soft plastic. So Cranking and Yanking said I subbed Alex. His screen is bigger than his kayak.
That's because I have 2 of them.
Go ahead. You got another bait back there.
I've got the combat crawl. So I'll Texas rig this also. And that's my jig trailer as well.
Now you got rage crawls out.
Yep.
You like the rage bugs and all that?
Yeah. So
Now David Weaver, I'm gonna kick your ass, son. Danny's favorite bait is the Whopper Plopper. No, sir, it ain't. But I'm gonna give you a little. I tried throwing that Saturday. I made 4 casts with it.
It gets nothing.
confidence is key,
I
brother.
put
If you
that
hate
thing-
it, you
I
ain't gonna catch
love
them
you,
all.
David Weaver, but I put that Whopper Plopper right back in. I cut it off. I bit it off. Really, I was like, I ain't throwing that thing. So, okay. So, but real quick, what did you say on your jig trailer? Real quick, what was yours?
The combat crawl.
Combat crawl
right
from
here on my
Tactical.
brush bomb.
Okay, so
Yep.
you got that. You got right there.
So I got a rage bug from Strike King, and so this bait became one of my staples back in my kayak days. I was throwing it just Texas rigged back in the day and catching them on Lake Chateau when I was in college, and just flipping it on laydowns and things like that. Texas rigged, and caught a bunch of fish doing that. And then I went to where I was traveling a lot with my job, and when I was working for Black Rifle at the time. And so I started getting exposed to these grass fisheries. Like I never fished around grass, never really been around fishing grass and flipping heavy cover and things like that. And so I was like, oh, well, this is what I got in the boat. I'm going to rig this up, rigged it up on a flipping hook and a big 1 ounce flipping weight. And I was with Paul Bork at the time, and he was teaching me how to flip grass. And so we were out on Gunnersville, and I was starting to learn like different types of grass and flipping and making the right cast and things like that, and started catching a couple fish on it. And then a couple weeks later, we went out to Texas. And so I was down on Choke Canyon Reservoir down in Texas, and we were flipping. It was 12 foot of hydrilla. I mean, just big, thick.
Paul's answer you right there. Yep.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So I was flipping around Nancy's Hot Ditch down in.
That's a T-shirt.
So that was on Welsh Reservoir, actually. So that was the first place we went before Choke Canyon. That's where I was really getting the flip and bite dialed in with the old rage bug. And so me and Paul had it was like 23, 24 pounds that day flipping grass. And I mean, he lost a couple of giants that day out in Texas. So finally getting warmed up, getting my feet wet with this stuff. And we go down to Choke Canyon in Texas, and these hydrilla mats were so thick and big and deep. And so I've caught a couple 4-pounders on it, nothing crazy, like still getting a feel for it. And then so I remember Paul had to take a call, and he sits down in the seat of the Bass Cat at the time, and I go up front and I start flipping, and I see like one little anomaly in the grass and make a flip, and I set the hook, and I'm like, oh God. And it comes up, and I'm just kind of like reeling it. I mean, you're on 65-pound braid and you're just reeling it, and it's already at the edge of the boat. We don't have a net in the boat, but Paul's sitting there on the phone taking his call in the driver's seat, and this fish is flopping like right next to him. Paul throws his phone down, goes to reach down and grab the fish, sticks his hand in the bucket of this fish's mouth, and then he goes to like lift it, and then he had his phone in his left hand. He goes, grabs the fish, and then he throws his phone down and goes to grab and put 2 hands in it and throws it into the floor of the boat. And I'm like, oh God. He's like, son. It was an 8.6 largemouth, and it was my PB for like 3 or 4 years after that. And I was just like, oh my God, like what did I just do? And Paul just landed this fish, but old rage bug gets bit,
bug. All right, so everybody in the comment section, you may have noticed, going back up a little bit, Broke Bass Boy dropped his secret.
Oh, yeah, I saw it.
He dropped his secret. All right, Tokyo Rig, Old Monster. Now, here's the juice here. Or Don't Kill Me, drop shot a crank, and that's all you need. Now, further on down, he talked about taking a Dremel tool, drilling a hole in the bill of the crank, and using it as a drop shot. Now, I haven't heard that. That's something good to try. I will tell you this. Jonathan Farmer put me on something similar. If you take a streamer that you guys like to throw at trout, and you put a streamer on a drop shot, you get that thing down, and you got the feathers just sitting there, just undulating. That's a word that Ryan liked to use. I didn't even know it was a real word, yeah, undulating and all that. But Broke Bass, you know how many guys are going to go out there and try that this weekend? And so Georgia Country Boy, so I guess he is casting that out. Drop shot. That's interesting. That is interesting. I'm going to ask you guys this question. And Alex, I'm going to start with you. What is the most overrated, worst plastic worm, plastic fluke, whatever, soft plastic bait out there you think it's 100% a gimmick, you would never throw it?
I don't know.
Think about it. John, what about you?
Not a gimmick, but just what I will not throw is the Z-Man stuff.
You just don't like the last tag.
It's a sensory thing. I don't like the way it feels. I don't like it melting everything else that's in my kayak.
It does do that.
Yeah.
It does do. You can't stick it.
Because I'm constantly, as I'm changing baits, I'm throwing everything in a pile on the kayak. And by the end of the day, it's all a big ball and it's melted to my kayak. So I just don't like dealing with this stuff.
If Danny won't use a weighted hook, he ain't got no drill bits.
There you go. Anything
no doubt. Cam 92 Fox. Honestly,
hey, there's Sheffield.
It's Sheffield here. But Cam, hey, appreciate you joining us tonight. Ryan says anything from Guggen, and then Sheffield. Put Sheffield up. Pull him up. My ears started burning. Somebody talking about me. Have we talked about Ryan tonight?
Yeah, you brought him up talking about fishing a drop shot with a streamer.
No, that's Farmer.
Oh. Then what?
I will tell you this: he throws the hell out of that horny toad.
Yeah.
So he's the horny toad king right
When you
there.
said undulate, you were
Oh,
Ryan.
undulate.
That's
That's
what it
it. Listen, Ryan would say a couple of words, and I'm sitting back over going, that ain't no damn word, but it is. Who's always right. What do you got in your hand over there, Alex?
That was a frog.
Frog? So you said Z-Man, you just don't like any of their products, the Last Tech products. You don't like them
because of what it's made out
because of what it's made
Yeah.
out of. What about you?
I really don't discriminate. Like I will try it all. It's just stuff that gets bit and stuff that doesn't get bit, in my opinion. Like I haven't come across, like, I guess mainly like the knockoffs of stuff. That's like, okay, there's obviously a better version. I'm going to throw the better version.
You like the name brand stuff.
Yeah.
So Ryan, I'm just saying, you like to use those big words that I just honestly I thought you just making that shit up.
He's using Shrek size words.
But it was right. He was right. They were real words. Alex, have you got yours yet?
I'll say I don't know the name of it, but it is. Ryan made me think of it. It is made from Guggen.
Yeah, somebody said Guggen baits
like
right
the
there.
Bandito bug. Or,
And then I see the Banjo Minnow. But listen, Doc, they're still selling that.
Mhm.
And so it's got either it's the most fantastic marketing campaign out there, or they might actually catch fish, but I get it. Now,
Will says fuzzy dice.
that's what I was going to say.
Now I do want to try that one that Spro's importing.
The ball
Koiki,
kind of thing.
yeah.
The Koiki.
I don't know how to say that.
It's a Koiki.
Yeah.
I
I do want to try that.
Somebody showed me what was it, you or was it you? Somebody showed me this octopus bait today. It might have been. It looked like an octopus, but when you would pull it, it basically looked like a jig. But it was an octopus style bait. Those fuzzy dice seem like a gimmick. Them Japanese
They
though
freaking
catch
well.
fish on
Dude,
them.
them white boys from Minnesota catch them too.
Yeah, when Jake was on
Shout
here,
out
he
Houston.
wouldn't talk about it. So
He
he's
wouldn't
doing
talk
something
about it.
with Yeah.
So there's something about it. Now let me ask what you guys. I've heard they use them on drop shots. Have you heard differently as far as how to fish them?
Yeah.
They put that cube with all that stuff on drop shots. Kevin Thornton, plum color is a staple. I meant to tell, and Paul says, fuzzy dice grew on me, easy to sleep on it till you get bit. And then Broke Bass Boards goes, shh. Now, I saw when we were talking about colors earlier, and Tim showed me this. You know, bass have 2 sets of cones. We have 3, so they don't see colors the way we do. That, and Tim, correct me if you're still here. Ryan says, drop shot, free rig the dice.
And a Nico rig is
And a
sweet
Nico
way to
rig.
rig it up.
But that when it comes to colors, June bug is the only color that we see that bass see the exact same way. What we see in a June bug worm, bass see it as a June bug worm. Did you guys know that? I did not either, but he can do that. But you guys, I tell you what, small fuzzy dice baits kill big brim and red breast. I can see that. I can see that 100%. So cranking and yanking, I tell you what, you mentioned and Ryan, since you're on here, Ryan, what are you doing Thursday night? Because Cranking and Yanking wants us to do a jig podcast. So maybe, Ryan, if you're available, and if not, I'll call Farmer or something. Thursday night, we'll do a jig podcast. So if you're still watching, Ryan, let me know if you're available. Paul Burke says, and we're talking about the dice baits, stick a Nico weight in the dice, skip it around like a Cinco. Interesting. Might have to try that. Have you tried one yet?
Yeah.
Did you have any success on it?
Mhm.
You caught fish on it? Why aren't you telling anybody about it?
Because
I'm
tactical
still
doesn't
kinda-
make it.
I'm
Does
still trying-
tactical make a fuzzy dice bait?
No, I'm still trying to learn it, and I'm gonna start experimenting with my own stuff, like thread and skirt material through worms and stuff like that.
Okay. So I tell you what, we'll do that Thursday night. We'll go ahead and schedule it. We're going to do a jig show for Cranking and Yanking. So you guys tune in Thursday night. With that, hey, listen, the Braves are still leading 7-3. I don't care if the Braves lose every game in the entire season as long as they beat the Mets. I hate the Mets. Cam 92 Fox says he made some with his own skirt material and cut up some young dingers because I'm cheap. Hey, it works. It works. Those nail weights with skirts on them work great. So anyway, all right. So we're gonna call it a night with that. We covered a lot of stuff. Hell, we honestly could talk another 2.5 hours because the whole world of plastics is so big. Now, guys, I want to do this. First of all, thank you guys for coming in tonight. Thank you guys in the comments for everything. Tomorrow, and I want you guys to start penciling this in, about noon every day, we're going to do the FNGO lunch break. So it's going to be on Facebook. It's going to be here on YouTube. Listen, I'll come in with a plan every day, but honestly, it can be about whatever. It's just we want to give you guys something in the middle of the day, just kind of give you a break and just talk. So you guys join me tomorrow at 12 noon. And Phil learned a lot tonight. There you go. So we taught a trout guy some stuff.
Throw up Paul's real quick.
I was going to say last comment.
They just dropped those their tumbleweed, and I've watched that thing on the Elite Series catching bass for six or 8 months before it was released, and now it's finally out. So you can find them in a lot of different places, and they come like 4 to a pack for $10, which is a really good deal for those things.
Let's see, broke bass. Pull up him real quick. Someone dropped the tackle shop address. I'm going to swing by on my way home from Kentucky tomorrow. All right. So, Alex, type it. It's 11262 Highway 53, Marble Hill, Georgia.
Whoa.
.30148. And I want you to type this in here too as well. 678.
I'll type that next because I'll run out of room.
678 283 6700. If you get lost, shoot me a text. Don't call me because I get too many damn spam calls. But shoot me a text if you're lost. And again, guys, join me tomorrow about noon. We'll do that. And then by the way, Danny, how long are you open on Saturdays? If I'm not fishing, 8 to 12.
Oh, and Andy, I saw you asked earlier if I was prior service. I am not, but the owner of Tactical Fishing Company is.
And we love our veterans. We love our veterans right there. So shoot me a text. Now I got to ask, do y'all have anyone who services reels there? I don't do that. I mean, I'll clean up some, but I don't
send
do
mine to Nutter.
Nutter in Cartersville is about the only one I know. I think Hammonds actually has a guy that does some. Do you know anybody? Nutter's in Cartersville.
Yeah.
So call and ask for a $20 tuggy. McGuire. Damn, dude.
Old Tuggy McGuire out
Tuggy
there.
McGuire.
That's because he saw you lick a worm.
That's what the T stands for.
I ain't licking no more worms on this
Tuggy
podcast.
McGuire Outdoors.
Tuggy McGuire Outdoors. So anyway, guys, thanks for joining us tonight. I got to get these guys home. I've got about a 7-minute drive. They all got a lot longer drive, but you guys, thank you for coming on tonight, talking about it. Thank you guys in the comment section. But anyway, that number is for anybody who wants to get in touch with me. Shoot me a text even if you want to talk, and or you can email me, danny@fngo.com. So Thursday night, we're gonna do a jig show. What's the name of the shop? Fish North Georgia Outfitters. Fish North Georgia Outfitters. So, guys, you be good. Try not to burn up in this damn oppressive heat, because right now I feel like we're on the tip of hell. But everybody in the eastern part of the country is like that. So, have a great night. We will see you tomorrow at noon or Thursday night on the next live. Well, you guys be good. We'll see you.